Steve? Forge Fiend, good to see you, my guys. Let me get my screens fixed, and we'll get shit fired up and running. Let's see, I think I settle in there, and then we can... Hey, what's up? My name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games, I illustrate them, and I publish them online. And we're creating content for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. Let me turn that music down. There we go. I bet that's going to sound a lot more balanced. Let me know if the sound is off at all. But yeah, we're making stuff for Dungeons & Dragons 5.5. We're converting the Vancian spell slots and 8 schools of magic into the color magic paradigm of Magic the Gathering. The white, blue, black, red, green colors, and using mana to pay for casting the spells. If you want to throw a fireball, it's a 3rd level spell. It'll cost 3 mana. 1 point is red, and the other 2 points can be any color that you want. Very basic system. When you run out of red mana, you either need to recover some, or if you have mana in your mana pool, you can take a short rest to change the color of mana in your mana pool, so you can always have your pool adapt. You can also research spells, so that, like, say, red is like fireball is a white spell for you. So if you were a, say, an Azorius Senate character that's only operating in white and blue mana, and you want red spells in your spell selection, then you can research them so that they are the color that you want them to be instead of their default native devoted color. If you're on the fly, you can also prepare a spell twice. So you could prepare Fireball as its natural red spell, and then you could prepare it a second time to be white instead of red. That is, it's expensive if you don't have a lot of spells, but we give you more spells with this version that we're using to take into account that you're going to be potentially spending some prepared spell slots to just change colors of spells until you have an opportunity to research it back at wherever your lair is, your bastion or your guild or your college, or at the temple of the gods that you have piety with, however that plays out. But let's go ahead and don't know what that's all about. Let's grab this and pop open a second layer. There we go. We're going to put this outside our folders, and then what's going on, Ducky? There we go. Okay, everything's fit and fresh. So we'll work in this document. We'll reference this document, and we're going to be using. We're doing monks and paladins today. So let's carouse our way down to monk. That is not how you spell monk. Where's my fingers? There they are. Monk. Let's blip our way down the page. Okay, so using excuse me, using the martial power system. All martial characters and half-casters use this same progression table. The barbarian, fighter, monk, paladin, ranger, rogue, as well as artificer and warlock can make use of stuff in the system, but all of those but the warlock actually use this table. It's short rest mana, so you get 1 point per level like the monk does, capping at 20 at 20th level, getting all mana back when you take a short rest. Each class has various features that allow you to get additional mana in, like fighter's second wind. When you use second wind, you can get a point or up to 3 points of mana depending on your level. The paladin can use lay on hands to recover mana. The monk regains mana at a certain point. The monk regains mana at the beginning of initiative. Yeah, they've all got ways of cheating mana into the system. Hey, what's up? If I am available for next session, I think I'll play my favorite OC, my Blade. Oh, super cool. No, the setting doesn't matter at all. It's what Forge is talking about. We'd love to have you. Is the Strixhaven Mage Tower PvP combat for 5.5 that we built. That lets you basically play rugby with spellcasting and murder against each other to score points and win the game. Super fun. Okay, great. Yeah, so martial power system, mana 1 to 20. Prepared powers, we start with 4. This includes any weapon masteries and fighting styles that your character might normally get. But that's rolled into here, and you'll end up with 15 of them at 20th level. Each class gets 10 bonus spells or powers. So all of these classes will end up with 35. The wizard has 25 prepared spells and ends up with 35. And the rest of the classes, I believe they all clock in with 23, that's right. 23 spells plus 10, so that's 33 spells. Anywhere from 33 to 35 spells is how many the full casters get. The Warlock gets 15 spells plus the 5 from Mystic Arcanum, so they have 20 spells plus the 10 that they get. They end up at 30 themselves, so 35, 33, 30, 25 for the rest. So everyone gets a bunch of spells or powers. Lots of reasons to spend mana. The power die acts as a martial arts die, as well as a superiority die, a psionic die, or an inspiration die. It starts with a D6 at first, becomes a D8 at 9th, it becomes a D10 at 17th. All of the martials and half casters have the martial power progression table, which is a half casting progression: 1 at first, 2 at 5, 3 at 9, 4 at 13, 5 at 17. And there you go. So you spend 1 point per mana. A third rank power costs 3 mana. If it were like, say, a saving throw boost, if you spend 3 mana, you can roll 3 8-sided dice and keep the highest result and add it to your die roll, kind of like a Bardic Inspiration die. With this system, you don't stack Blessed, stack Inspiration, and stack your martial power dice. You just take if I had 3 D8s I'm throwing with mana, I've already got a D10 from my Bard, and I've got a D4 from an active Bless spell. I could roll all those dice and I'll keep the best result. Or maybe I just want to sit on the Bardic Inspiration die and just keep that in my pocket for now. Ignore the Bless, and I'll get the Bless no matter what. But 3d8 plus 1d4, whichever result is highest, add to my ability check, whatever my d20 test is. That is the way to maintain the value of the bounded accuracy curve, so that you don't have stacking dice effects from various classes, subclasses, and spells all accumulate. So you have a plus, on average, a plus 17, plus 20 bonus on top of your expertise and your stat bonus and blah, 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 blah advantage. So that's the curve there. So all the classes that we're working with the Monk and the Paladin today, they're both going to utilize this. The Paladin gets 10 bonus spells. The Monk gets 10 bonus powers. The half casters, the Paladin, the Ranger, and the Artificer, as well as the Warlock, if the DM allows, get access to both their spell list and powers. So you could play a pure martial ranger by not taking any spells, but instead having your mana spent on powers like damage boosts, ability check bonuses, inspiration dice, re-rolls, advantages, disadvantaging your enemies, movement bonuses. They're inspired by the 3rd edition Book of Nine Swords, lovingly calling it martial powers. So that's what we're going to play with. So we're going to get down into the Monk. We're going to, as we've been doing, we're going to go over the class features and then the subclass features for the 4 subclasses that are in the player's handbook. And then we'll move on to the Paladin, go through the Paladin class features and the 4 subclass features that are listed in the book. So I'm going to grab my handy timekeeping device here. And we're setting our 20-minute timer so that we can keep track of where we're at. I've got 3 hours to get through the 2 classes and 8 subclasses. So let's get to work. Okay, so off the bat, the martial die replaces the power die. So we still get our D6, D8, D10, D12. But at 17th level, if I wanted to put 5 mana into boosting an attack roll, for instance, I could roll 5 12-sided dice and keep the best result, and the other 4 points of mana just burn from use. But all the class features that we have in here have well, not all of them, a lot of them have been modified by using mana as our default power system. So we'll look at that. And worth mentioning real quick before we get too far off the rails is empowered actions. A very important aspect of martial powers is that you can sacrifice your action economy during combat to generate temporary mana that you can spend on powers, and in the case of half-casters, concentration and instant spells before the beginning of your next turn. If I sacrifice an attack if I take the attack action, like at 5th level I've got 2 attacks, I could sacrifice both of them for 1 point of mana each. Or I could make an attack roll. If I hit, I could then sacrifice my second attack to then get mana that I can spend to increase the damage and cause some condition effects on the guy that I hit, for instance. I can sacrifice my bonus action to generate mana. At first it's 1 point. At third it's 2 points. At 9th level it's 2 points, and at 17th level it's 3 points. Again, I'm making an attack roll. Say at 17th level, and I'm a fighter. I've got 3 attacks, and I get 3 mana for my bonus action. I can make 1 attack. I could sacrifice 2 attacks and my bonus action to get 5 free mana that I could then dump into a single attack that does 5d10 damage, for instance. And then you can sacrifice your reaction. If you do, that generates 1 point of mana as well. And you keep the mana until the beginning of your next turn. So if you are holding your action to make a reaction to snub somebody in some way, you can dump all of your action economy to have a shitload of mana available for when you pop off on that guy. Whatever it is that you're planning on doing. So that was important for you guys to understand that, because obviously by sacrificing action economy during combat, you can keep that mana available for you out of combat until you take your next short rest, or it will allow you to just boost the amount of mana that you have in your mana pool to hyper accelerate the stuff that you could normally do. They talk about martials are supposed to be balanced against the spellcasters, because what they can do over and over and over again. But all they can do is swing a sword or trip somebody or grapple something. So saying that they could go all day and do all this stuff doesn't really mean that much. But if Captain America with his shield has a shitload of martial powers that allows him to generate and dump mana during combat, he could be doing all sorts of super cool stuff with his chosen weapon, the shield. Flinging it, hitting multiple targets, having it come back to him, using it to repel an incoming opportunity, like a spell attack. He can deflect that. He can hold it up and create a shield for all the allies around him. These are different things that you could expend mana on as a martial character. And depending on what class and subclass you chose, is going to help then further flavor how you can manipulate these different powers. Just like spellcasters, some in 5.5, a lot of them have these signature spells that you then modify as you gain subclass levels, or that you can just burn mana to do things with, like Wild Shape or Channel Divinity, etc. Bardic Inspiration. These are all things that you can spend mana on to hyper focus on wild shaping, or hyper focus on giving inspiration out as a bard, for instance. So let's go through the monk features. Channeling, again, your channeling stat, while it's traditionally wisdom, with martial powers, it can be strength, dexterity, or wisdom, your choice. That is your channeling stat. Channeling and spellcasting don't mix at all. The half-casters that get it, they both know spellcasting up to 5th level and martial powers up to 5th. Martial characters only have martial powers up to 5th at 17. Full casters don't get any martial powers and have spellcasting up to 9th level at 17, but at 19th level it's 10th level spell slot, 10th level max spell level. So they don't. So if the half casters are the true Gish hybrids that can do both casting and the martial powers, Warlock is the Gish that gets access to 10th level spell slot or 10th level spell max channel limit, max spell casting limit of 10, and then also has access up to 5th level martial powers. Those powers you gain at 1, 5, 9, 13, 17, while the Warlock gets spellcasting at 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, blah, to 19. But you can only get, like, the Warlock gets 10 bonus spells, and you have the 9 invocations and your 10 spells, your 10 prepared spells that you could instead prepare powers. So you could, if you wanted to have 24 powers, 10 Warlock bonus spells, 5 Mystic Arcanum high magic spells of level 6 and above, and be able to fully operate on both sides of the equation. So super fun. It's Warlock always felt like the Gish. By adding the martial power system, it really embodies that Gishedness. So 4 powers, martials universally get access to fighting styles and weapon masteries. Weapon masteries and fighting styles are learned, or rather are prepared as powers. You can swap all of your powers when you gain a level. You can swap 1 power when you finish a long rest. So you can rotate, like on a Bastion turn, which is 7 days. If you're just doing downtime and just laying low, that allows you to swap 7 of the powers that you currently have prepared, which can include fighting styles, weapon masteries, and general feats after 5th level. So that's our mana pool, 1 per level, and we can generate temporary mana. We don't specifically have to be tied to colors. Marshals generate so much free mana when they are sacrificing action economy, and when you generate mana, when you get mana in the system, you then choose what color is it devoted to. So if I'm going to generate 5 points of free mana every turn, and I may as well not have, I could have any color I want. My mana pool doesn't really matter. For half casters, it will, because even though martial powers don't use a specific, can be any color that you want, the spells that they cast do require color devotion. So like the Paladin, the Ranger, and the Artificer, and the Warlock, they can spend any mana they want willy-nilly when they're channeling powers, but as soon as they want to cast spells, they need to make sure that the mana that they have left is the color that they need it to be. So that's an added complication that goes into spell casting that helps further divide the difference between easy, natural, instinctive, intuitive movement of the martials in combat versus the preparation, foresight, and study of the spellcasters, not only choosing the spells that they need, but also aligning their mana pool to be devoted to the same colors that they have picked out for their characters. And you can run a campaign where your character, like if you're like, hold on, I want to separate my windows here. Like if you're playing a Ravnica campaign where every character is going to have a guild, and so you're going to have 2 colors that you're devoted to, like Azorius Senate is white and blue, so your character is then going to be will have white and blue mana available in their mana pool. And as a fighter, you're just expressing it's like, yeah, it's white and blue. When I channel magic to do powers, it gets expressed as white and blue radiance, and I can just describe that as I want. It's just narrative. It doesn't have an actual mechanic to it. And spellcasting can be that way too. But if you really want to lessen the divide between martials and full casters, because full casters are the problem. First, we make all the martials equal to half casters, so now there's only half casters and full casters. So that takes the divide up a step. And now, if you're playing with all the tools in the color mana toolbox, the full casters have to manage their spells, and they have to manage the amount of mana of each color they have in their mana pool to efficiently cast the spells. But you get so much mana from just spell points in general that you can afford, like if you only have 2 colors, you're fine. As a 7th level sorcerer devoted to white and green magic, I have never ran out of the color that I needed. It's just too easy to manage it. But it's fun. It's a neat narrative element that I have to pay attention to. If I know I'm going to be fighting today, and I'm going to be popping off guiding bolts as a divine sorcerer, and it only costs me 1 mana a pop, I'm going to want to make sure that I have a shitload of white mana, because I have to cast it because it's a white spell, so I have to have a lot of white mana in my mana pool. And it costs 1 point a pop, and it has to be white. When I run out of white mana, my clip is empty. And I have to either take a short rest to change the color of some of it, or take a long rest so I can reload my clip. There you go. We call it a clip. Okay, mana, you get a point, a level, short rest, blah. Martial arts. So we've made a number of modifications to the monk class to better fit what we like. And so with monks being general martials, getting access to weapon masteries and fighting styles, we can lean into that. So martial arts. You can unarmed attacks, natural weapons, and any melee weapon you're proficient with that doesn't have the heavy property. And any weapon, not melee weapon, any weapon you're proficient with that doesn't have the heavy property is a monk weapon, which gains the following benefits when not wearing armor or wielding a shield. You can use your strength, dexterity, or wisdom modifiers for attack rolls and damage rolls with monk weapons. You can roll a d6 in place of the normal damage of any monk weapon. That die increases to a d12 by 17th. Whenever you hit with an unarmed attack, you can choose to deal bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing damage. Your unarmed and natural attacks are considered to be weapons worth one or more silver pieces for use with spells, feats, and features requiring that prerequisites, and can use any combat mastery that you have prepared. So there you go, hands of plenty. You always have the grapple and topple mastery, combat masteries prepared. So you can topple anybody. You have it prepared, and you got it for free. So combat masteries are the weapon masteries decoupled from weapons. So Vex is just something you can prepare, but like I think it's the longbow that vexes. The scimitar, I think, vexes. So if I'm proficient with the scimitar and I'm a martial and I have access to martial powers, I can automatically use the weapon mastery associated with the weapon that I am proficient with. But if I prepare a weapon mastery, I can use that mastery with any weapon that would logically be able to use it. Like I can't grapple with a sling stone, for instance, but I can grapple with any melee weapon. So I can take the grapple mastery, which isn't associated with any weapons, but as long as I'm holding a melee weapon, I can use the grapple mastery, which allows me, when I hit with an attack, to initiate a grapple, and you have to make a saving throw, or I have grappled you. But while you're grappled, I can't use that weapon because I'm using it to grapple you. So that's what the grapple mastery is. And then topple, literally any weapon, like a longbow, a sling stone, a javelin, a dagger, unarmed strikes, your bullhorns, any of them can be used to topple people if you have it prepared as a combat mastery. So I think if WotC had more time to cook, I think they would have come to this conclusion. Because if you have to either choose fighting styles or weapon masteries in the normal player's handbook, and like you get 3 now at first level, the fighter gets 3 slots. You get the fight any number of fighting styles or weapon masteries. Go ahead, and as you gain levels, you get more mastery slots open that you can continue to fill in with more fighting styles or more weapon masteries, and then swap them when you take a long rest. I think WotC would have naturally come to that conclusion if they had had long enough of time to play and explore with these ideas. So that's how we implement it, and it makes them, basically gives all the martial characters cantrips. Lots of cantrips to use with their weapon attacks. So super fun. And then you can use a bonus action to make an attack with a monk weapon. There you go. Oh no, it is supposed to be melee weapons. And it's the Kinsei and some of the specialists that get access to ranged weapons. And any melee weapon. There we go. Unarmed defense, level 1. When you aren't wearing armor or shield, your base AC is 10 plus Dex and Wiz. And let's get rid of unnecessary spaces here to clean up the frame a little bit. There we go. And there, and bloop. Focused arts instead of focused arts. During your turn, you can choose the following options: Flurry of Blows, expend 1 mana as a bonus action, you make 2 attacks with a monk weapon. Patient Defense, you can take with a monk weapon. These attacks cannot be sacrificed to generate temporary mana. Patient Defense, you can take the disengage action as a bonus action, and if you expend 1 mana as an exploit, while doing so, you can also take the dodge action at the same time. I'm specifically calling it an exploit here because it's a non-action that's modifying the bonus action. There may be instances where that is important to notate. Step of the Wind, you can take the dash action, and as a bonus action, you can expend 1 mana as an exploit. While doing so, you can also take the disengage action at the same time. You could theoretically, since this is an exploit, you could take the efficient power feat that allows you, when you channel an exploit, to generate a free point of mana for free with the exploit. So I get Step of the Wind for free, but I could also prepare it at 2nd level as one of my 5 prepared powers. And if I do, I would be able to basically not pay the mana cost, because I am using, I could take all 3 of these things, and now I could do Flurry of Blows anytime I take I use my bonus action, but I'm not gaining mana from it. And by 9th level, I'd be getting 2 points of mana for my bonus action. So do you want to hit more, or do you want to generate more mana? That's up to you. But if I were to prepare Flurry of Blows on top of having it, then I would be able to always do 2 attacks. That's a power that we have available to people. It's more efficient for the monk. Patient actually... It's not listed. Yeah, you know what? I think actually that this doesn't have exploit listed specifically, so we wouldn't be able to do that. That was the difference. We didn't give the Flurry of Blows because that's too good for free. But Patient Defense, taking the disengage and the dodge action, that's pretty good. But it's not so crazy that it doesn't outdo anything else that you can do with powers for the cost of mana. So if you prepare this, you learn it twice. Basically, it's going to eat up one of your prepared slots, but now you don't have to spend mana on it, so you are now less mana starved than your character would otherwise have been. You can always use Patient Defense with both of these things. You can always use Step of the Wind with dash and disengage for free if you prepare it on top of having it as a base ability. So you get it for free. It's just a class feature, but you can lean into it and make it free to use by preparing those things. Anyway, deflect attack. When a weapon attack, not an attack that deals PPS, we changed it. It's a weapon attack, hits you or an ally within reach of your melee weapon. As a reaction, you can reduce the amount of damage dealt by an amount equal to the result of 1 power die plus your channeling ability modifier and your monk level. If the damage is reduced to 0, you can expend 1 point of mana to redirect the attack. Hold on, what's up? Hey, Gabby, it's good to see you. Monk! Doing really well. Having fun. I love doing this stuff, so I'm happy to share this with you guys. We'll eventually break this down into a PDF, create gaps on the page, and then here's the artwork for the elemental monks that we had using airbenders up here and Underdark characters down here. Airdro, Earth Monk, Earth Dwarf, and then we have Fire Nation and Water Nation doing cold and scorching ray magic stuff. So this is the elemental key, but this is the kind of artwork that we put into our books. There should be paragraphs here, but this is just I didn't include the whole page, just the artwork from it. But this is the kind of stuff. So when we finish this class, we can break it down into the PDF and then start doing the artwork for wherever the gaps on the page is at. But we're going to finish the series of characters first and then drop them into the book. We'll probably actually spend time here on stream formatting the page layout to look at the gaps that are on the page, and then we'll just start painting on the page in Photoshop. So just want to double check. I believe you said Artificer will be last. Yeah, Artificer will be last. It'll be a week from Saturday. The Artificer's already in here. All of the classes and all the subclasses WotC's ever published are in here already. But this is just a final pass, just to make sure everything still feels balanced. But you can pull up this document. You might already be in it. And if you were to tag down here, hey, anyone that's interested in stuff, like, subscribe, bell icon, notifications, blah, blah, blah. The document that I'm using is right here. You should be able to do a search just do a search for Artificer, and it'll take you down to it. No one has editing rights. It's just a read-only document, and once we publish it, it'll be like everything else on the DMsGuild. It'll be 100% free preview. Here's the full bundle of books that we've made. Here's the Elemental Key book that I was referencing. And you can see it has 100% free preview. Bop. There you go. 14 pages. Red, green, blue, air, earth, fire, water. So 3 elements or 4 elements or 3 colors. It works both ways. But we could then, see. Here's the page that we worked on, and here's the paragraphs for the 17th level feature for the subclass. Is it 17th level that gets that? Yeah, 17th level. Anyway, all these books are free for view. You buy them because you want me to make more books. So God bless you if you do. Deflect. Okay, great. Yeah, so changes to deflect attack. It's now anytime weapon attack hits you, because weapon attacks with this system can do any type of damage. Force damage, lightning damage. There's a huge variety of damage types that you can deal just with weapon attacks out of the box now with martial powers. So limiting it to BPS damage only made sense when that was basically the type of damage that weapons could do, but 5.5 has already evolved into different damage types. So instead, when it's a weapon attack that hits you, or an ally within reach of your weapon with your melee weapons, you can use your reaction to reduce the damage, and then if you reduce the damage to 0, you can expend 1 point of mana to redirect the attack to another creature. A melee weapon attack can target another creature that you can see within reach within melee weapon reach, or a ranged weapon attack can target another creature without full cover that you can see within 30 feet of you. The new target makes a dexterity saving throw against your channeling DC. If they fail, they take the amount of damage dealt by the deflected attack using the same type of damage. And then subclasses at 3, 6, 10, 14. The classic levels, the ideal levels for leveling up. Feet at 4, 8, 12, 16. Slow fall starting at 4th level. Fall reduced damage by an amount equal to 5 times your monk level. So 20 damage at 4th level, up to 100 damage at 20th level. Very nice. Second attack at level 5. Hey, what's up? Yeah. Go check it out. Yeah, I mean, just in 5.5 in general, Wizards really did a good job glamming them up, but they're still very mana throttled. It's very, like, everything they want to do uses a short rest mana, but they don't give you any, like, they eventually give you, initiative allows you to regain mana, like, at 20th level, but no one gets there unless you're a really dedicated table. So it's not likely most people are going to see that. So we needed to implement things that allow you to increase the more quality of life, so that their mana pool makes sense for them to use it in both in and out of combat. That's where the efficient power the efficient power feat and the empowered actions ideas came from. So, like, what's the best way to speed up combat? I'm going to jump all my action economy and do an extra 50 points of damage to you. Get fucked. Empowered strikes. Stunning strike. Once per turn, when you hit with a monk weapon, instead of channeling a strike power, you can expend 1 mana to force the target to make a Constitution saving throw or be stunned until the start of your next turn. You can use that's stunning. Sounds pretty normal. There is no consolation prize, but you can use Stunning Strike in combination with any weapon mastery you know, regardless of whether the target is stunned. So normally it would be like your speed is reduced. We would just use the slow property for weapon mastery. So, but I could also use topple or grapple. Like I attempt to stun you, I fail, but I'm now grappling you and you're restrained anyway. So, like, maybe that's what I needed to do. Stunning strike plus grapple mastery, which the monk gets for free, or stunning strike and topple. If I knock you prone, not only are you prone, but you're stunned, you can't get back up until your next turn. So, who's your stomp now? It's a good solution. I think it works well. Empowered strikes. Whenever you deal damage with your unarmed strike or natural weapon, it can choose to deal force damage. You could prepare force damage as an option starting at level 5. So this is well within the power curve that we already have introduced. But you get it for free, so good for you. Again, it's unarmed strikes. That's a natural weapons that you're using. So I can still deflect your attack even though you're going to deal force damage. That's why it was important to change that. This will be new, Whirlwind Attack. As a magic action, you can attack enemies around you that you can see in a blur of motion. The Whirlwind Attack table below shows how many targets you can attack and how far from you each of these targets can be. Make a separate melee weapon attack against each target with a monk weapon. Each target hit takes damage equal to the result of rolling 1 power die for each point of mana expended this way up to the max channel limit gained as a monk, minimum of 1. At 6th level, I can channel 2 mana. 5th level, 2nd level spells. So I could put 2 mana and do, at 5th level, it's a d6. So I could do 2d6 damage to a number of targets. Make a separate melee attack roll against each target with a monk weapon. Each target hits takes damage equal to the result of 1 power die plus mana channeled, plus your channeling ability modifier. So my 20 dex monk at level 6 is going to do 2d6 plus 5 damage to all viable targets at 6th level by spending 2 mana. These attacks cannot use strike powers or weapon masteries because it's a special attack thing. So here's your whirlwind table: 6, 10, 14, 18. Number of targets at level 6, you have 2 attacks, you get 2 targets. 15-foot range, 20-foot range, 25-foot range, 30-foot range at 18. Targets are 2, 3, 4, and 8. I need to do a double check real quick on the monk. Bip, bip, bidoo. Yeah, subclass feature 17. Where are we at? There we are. And then number of targets at level 6, it's 2. Then at 10, so it's 5, 9, 13, 17. So we stilted level 6, 10, 14, 18. 2 targets, 3 targets, 4 targets, 5 targets. For example, a 14th level monk can target up to 4 creatures up within 25 feet. If you expend 1 mana, you can deal D10 plus your channeling modifier damage to each creature hit. If instead you expend 4 mana, you can deal 4d10 plus your channeling ability modifier to each creature. And then after completing the whirlwind attack, you can teleport to an unoccupied space within 5 feet of any target that you had attacked. So this costs a maximum of 5 mana at 18th level. Let's take a quick field trip and pat ourselves. Let's try breaking our arm by patting ourselves on the back here for a hot second. Let's go to Steel Wind Strike. Fifth level spell, 30-foot range, magic action to use. You flourish the weapon used in casting and then vanish to strike like the wind. Choose up to at 17th level as a ranger. 5 targets, max channel limit is 5 at 17. 5 targets that you can see within range. Make a melee spell attack against each target. On a hit, a target takes 6d10 force damage, and then you can teleport to an unoccupied space that you can see within 5 feet of one of the targets. So at 17th level, or let's say 18th level, I could put 5 mana into this to target 5 creatures up to 30 feet away and deal 6d10 force damage. How about 5d10 force damage plus 5, which is the average for a d10? It's effectively exactly the same as Steelwind Strike that's been deconstructed, like downcasting down to 6th level, where it's going to be a minimum of only 1 mana. So this is great for mob clearing. Like if your DM uses minions, you can coax the magic action out of your monk every round to do a burst attack at minions that are within reach, and then use a bonus action to use a flurry of blows. So a monk with normal action economy with 2 mana can spend their round basically killing 7 minions. The monk is great if you're using like lethalities, vulnerabilities, or minion rules. The monk just mows through shit if that's how you want to use your mana. I love that. All right, so evasion. When you are subjected to an effect that allows you to make a dexterity saving throw to take only half damage, you instead take no damage if you succeed the saving throw, or half if you don't. You don't benefit from this if you have the incapacitated condition. 3. Easy peasy, as it were. Acrobatic movement. While you aren't wearing armor or wearing a shield, you gain the ability to move along vertical surfaces and across liquids on your turn without falling during your movement. What is our movement at by now? It starts with a +10. By 9th, it's a +15. It'll eventually stack up to a +30 at 20th. Cool. Boom, bow, bow. I love this song. It reminds me of Toonami. Heightened focus arts. Your flurry of blows, patient defense, and step of the wind gain the following benefits. You can expend 1 mana to use flurry of blows and make 3 unarmed attacks with it instead of 2. When you expend 1 mana to use patient defense, you gain a number of temporary hit points equal to the result of 2 power dice. And Step of the Wind, when you expend 1 mana to use Step of the Wind. Notice how it says when you expend 1 mana. Well, that applies if you decide to take it as an efficient power feat by preparing it on top of just getting it. Because it generates mana that you then expend. Casting this spell generates the mana needed to power this spell. That's basically how cantrips work. The act of the cantrip generates the mana that then pops off, so it's a 0 cost mana. That's why it scales up in value as you go up in levels. Step of the Wind, 1 mana. You can take a creature with you. Super cool. Yeah, temporary hit points aren't a big problem. THP is so much better than healing. It's much easier to use. You can just give people temporary hit points all the time. But again, it doesn't accumulate. It's just the best roll. It's just like with the dice pool that we use for the martial power, like the D20 test powers. It's like if this temporary hit point result is higher than your current amount, use the new amount. Otherwise, you still have like 40 temporary hit points or whatever. Also at level 10, self-restoration, you can remove one of the following conditions from yourself at the end of each of your turns. Charmed, Frightened, Poisoned. This ends any additional effects from that condition as well. In addition, foraging food and drink doesn't give foregoing food and drink doesn't give you levels of exhaustion. 13, deflect energy. You can now use your deflect attacks features against any type of attack, not just weapon attacks. Now it also includes spell, psionic, any kind of an attack where someone rolls an attack roll to target you. You can now deflect that off to somebody else if you want. Disciplined Survivor. You gain proficiency in all saving throws. In addition, when you fail a saving throw, you can expend 1 mana to re-roll using the new result. Perfect Focus, level 15. When you roll initiative and don't use Uncanny Metabolism, you regain an amount of mana equal to the max rank of power. I think we removed Uncanny. Oh, there it is. Yep. As a 1 minute, we skipped this one somehow. As a 1 minute ritual, you can regain a total number of mana equal to half your monk level. Rounded down, minimum of 1. Once you use this feature, you cannot do so again until you finish a long rest. Yeah, I'm good with that. I was about to make it. It's only once per long rest, so half your monk level feels fine. But then at 15, when you roll initiative and don't use uncanny metabolism, you regain an amount of mana equal to the max rank of power you've gained as a monk. So at 15, that's 4 mana. At level 13, you can do 4th level. At 17, it'll be 5. So the max rank of power gained as a monk. So if I take like 15 monk, 5 paladin, I would eventually get access to be able to channel 5 because your paladin levels plus your monk levels equals 17th level channeler, which can upcast or upchannel, can channel up to 5 mana. But as a monk, I only gained 4. So when I use perfect focus, I only get 4 mana at the when I roll initiative. Yeah, so there you go. Superior Defense should have stuck all 20 monk. It's worth it. Superior Defense. At the start of your turn, you can expend 3 mana to bolster yourself against harm for 1 minute or until you have the incapacitated condition. During that time, you have resistance to all damage except for force. Yeah, there you go. Epic Boon. 19. And then 20. Your dexterity and wisdom scores increases by 4 to a maximum of 25. Not bad. So that's going to bump your armor class a solid 4 points on top of whatever it was. What was it? 10, 25, that's 5, 6, 7, 14, 20, 24. Yeah, 24 armor class. That's not bad. Cool. Okay, so that was all of that. We just processed the monk. If anyone has any questions, be welcome to ask. But otherwise, we're going to just start sashaying our way into the subclasses. We're only going to worry about the 4 subclasses that are in the player's handbook. We're going to release the other ones on Patreon, and we'll eventually see them probably start rolling out in books in the future. So we'll replace what we have on Patreon with what is official, and then we'll update it. And Bob will be your uncle. Okay, cool. So let's look at the subclass features for the Warrior of Mercy. Insert flavor text here. Again, I was talking all subclasses. Now every subclass with this system gets 10 spells, powers, or both, depending on like some rangers get 5 spells, so we give them 5 powers. Some rangers get 10 spells, so they don't get any additional powers. Some rangers don't get any spells for some fucking reason, so we give them 10 powers. You always get 10 of something, whether it's spells, powers, or a combination of both. We'll go through what these powers are when we go through the master list, unless there's something specifically here that we need to look at. Like there could be a feature in here that modifies one of these powers that we gained. If that's the case, we'll look at the base power description and then see how it gets modified. Hey, what's up, Forge? Quick question. Good. So the ability described by level thing that we get on top of what the class already gets. This, so is the abilities described by level? Like the stuff that I just went through, like all this stuff. These are all of the class features of the monk translated into using mana as your base set. That's on top of the 15 prepared powers that you get over the course of 20 levels. And those powers can be spent on exploits that modify die rolls, maneuvers that are like spell-like abilities that can be used as magic actions or bonus actions. Reactions are reactions, and you spend mana to do cool shit in response to people doing things you don't like. Strike powers, you spend mana to deal more damage. We'll look at that more closely when we get to the Paladin. And then sustain powers are you spend mana, you basically tap mana, you turn it on, and it stays on until you turn it off, or you're incapacitated, or somebody dispels you. Alternatively, you could spend them on weapon masteries, fighting styles, and feats. At first level, you can pick up origin feats and fighting styles. At 5th level, you can start gaining general feats. You don't worry about prerequisites, but you don't get ability score bonuses either. Just the meat of what the class of what that feat does, you can now use as a prepared power. Like Sentinel, you don't gain a stat bonus. It doesn't have any prerequisites, but all the things that Sentinel's cool about doing, you can now do that because you've prepared Sentinel as a feat. And at 17th level, you can prepare some epic boons. Yeah, complete overhaul of the class. It's all in the Creative Commons, so I can publish all this stuff and sell it. I just need to make reference to the Community Commons in addition to what the disclaimer language for DMsGuild. So I'll be able to this entire chassis with all this build. It's self-contained. There's some instances, like for example, we rebuilt the Druid. It says wild shape class feature. Here's the modifications that we made. Go look in the player's handbook for the templates that you use or whatever. Same thing like with the Ranger. Go look at the template for your Beast Companion in the player's handbook. Or like, anyway, there you go. But otherwise, it's self-contained. I can't spell monk with 2 L's. Thank you. So, subclasses, and we've recalibrated all the subclass features as well. So these are complete. They're designed to be complete, so we'll be basically rebuilding this section of the player's handbook and the spellcasting chapter of the player's handbook and the backgrounds and alignment section of the player's handbook and some magic items from the DMs for the DMG and then the spell lists, and that'll be the book. So we're basically just rebuilding the core mechanics book, and then we'll rebuild Knights and Tricksters. We can go Knights, Tricksters, and Mystics by adding the Monk Mystic in to the same array that the Arcane Trickster and the Eldritch Knight have. So Warrior of the Mystic, Warrior of the Mystic Arts is the proposed new subclass for the Monk. And Knights and Tricksters is just Knights and Tricksters. There you go. Maybe I'd have to retitle the book. That'd be a little awkward. I'll probably just leave it Knights and Tricksters, and then we'll probably like do a separate monk book or something. Anyway, subclasses. Since there's 4 traditions that are listed for the monk in the player's handbook, those are the ones that we're going to focus on. All the other ones we'll build out on our own as separate PDFs for our Patreon. Mystics of the PTSD. Hand of Harm. You can deal necrotic damage when you hit with a monk weapon, and you can add your channeling ability modifier to the damage. We could already do that. And you can add your channeling ability modifier to the... Yeah, we already have that in place. You can deal necrotic damage when you hit... You know what? Let's do... you can deal necrotic... we're going to get radiant damage for free by 6th level. So this is kind of like it's kind of like a non-bow sort of thing, but you can deal necrotic or radiant. We're going to be able to do this for free, so it's a non-bow, but we also can already use your channeling ability modifier. So that's irrelevant. So we erase that. And who cares that, I mean, we just get radiant damage early. So we aren't losing anything. We're just gaining radiant damage, basically. Giving that to you for free initially. The life-stealing strike that we get at 5th level. This is, I think, something worth looking at real quick, because it's relevant to the conversation. Life-stealing strike is a 2nd rank power. You get access to it. You can start taking it at 5th level. And what does it do? Well... Life-stealing strike. Your weapon can deal necrotic or radiant damage and increases damage by 1 power die per mana channeled. In addition, you gain a number of temporary hit points equal to the result of the power dice rolled. Any temporary hit points that remain when you start a short or long rest are lost. So at 5th level, I can channel up to 2 mana. As a monk, I have a D8. So when I use Life-Stealing Strike as a monk with 2 mana as part of an attack, which could be one of my 2 attacks at 5th level, or either one of my Flurry of Blows at 2nd level. But once I get to 5th, like my Flurry of Blows, and at 11th level I get 3 attacks with my Flurry. All of those attacks I could spend mana on to deal more damage, just like the Paladin could in 2014. We'll see it here in a little while. The Paladin, when they choose to use their bonus action on top of it, they deal even more damage than usual. So they can ramp their damage for free by spending their bonus action on top of spending mana in their mana pool or sacrificing attacks. Normally, you would use your bonus act. You could sacrifice your bonus action to generate mana, but at 5th level, you're still constrained to 2 mana limit. At 9th level, you have up to 3 mana that you can spend for 1 power die each. It'd be D8. So at 9th level, all martial characters can spend 3 mana to deal 3d8 damage. But if the Paladin chooses to sacrifice their bonus action, let me say that differently. All martial characters at 9th level can spend 3 mana, and if they sacrifice their bonus action, they get 2 points for free. So to deal 3d8 damage at 9th level, you can sacrifice your bonus action and spend 1 point of mana to deal 3d8 damage. Or if you hit with your first attack, you can sacrifice your second attack and sacrifice your bonus action to generate 3 points of mana for free that you could then use with that attack that you made. But in the case of the Paladin, if you spend 3 mana, you could also spend an extra 2 mana if you sacrifice your bonus action. So the Paladin can actually spend 5 mana at 9th level if you sacrifice your bonus action to generate 2 points. You can then get 3 more points somewhere else, like sacrifice your second attack, sacrifice your reaction, and then spend 1 point out of your mana pool. I hit on my first attack, I'm going to burn the rest of my action economy to generate mana, and I'm going to do 5d8 points of smite damage as a Paladin, while everyone else would at best be able to do 3d8, sacrificing their action economy to pay off that mana. But again, but the Paladin can also use Lay on Hands to heal their mana. So the Paladin can over smite everybody else at the same rate that they can generate mana and smite themselves. The Paladin becomes the best smiter in the game, as it always should have been. The Sorkadin, a 2nd level Paladin, 18th level Sorcerer, has access to 9th level spell slot, 10th level spell slots, because 2 levels of Paladin equals 1 plus 18 from Paladin equals 19. You'll get access to 10th level spell slots, though you can only prepare up to 9th level. But sorcerers don't get access to martial powers at all. So a 2nd level Paladin can generate bonus action plus a point of mana equals 2 points. And 18 levels of sorcerer means I'm going to have 95 mana. So I can do that 2 points, 2 mana worth of 2d6 damage anytime I hit with an attack roll. I can do that 45 times a day because my mana pool is so thick. But it's still only going to be 2d6 damage at a time if I'm willing to sacrifice my bonus action to do it. I could just, whenever I make an attack, just spend 1 point of mana for d6 extra damage and do that literally 95 times a day. But I should probably be casting a 4th or 5th level spell instead to do something meaningful. But the point is that the sorcerer can't smite better than your level of Paladin. Your sorcerer can give you more mana to smite more often with, but it's the Paladin. A 17th level Paladin can put 8 mana, 3 from their bonus action, and 5 from their pool. They can do 8 10-sided dice worth of smite damage. No one else. It used to be that a sorcerer, 18 sorcerer, 2 Paladin could do could spend a 9th level spell slot and do 10 8-sided dice worth of damage. But now the sorcerer can't do shit. It's now a 17th level Paladin that can do 8 10-sided dice of damage. 10d8, 8d10, same difference. Paladin is the best, and I think that is the way. That it was always intended. This system allows us to actually do that. So we're defanging the Sorkadin. The best smiter in the game is the single class Paladin, which is how it should be. If you want to be the best fucking Paladin smiter in the game, you should have to stick to it for 17th levels to cap it out, not just to dip it and then go into sorcerer. It's too universal. By introducing language that limits you by your class features inside of your class, it just makes it makes multi-classing cool, but incredibly rewarding to single class. So anyway, lifesteal. We get that at 5th level. So Being able to do necrotic and radiant damage at 3rd level, and then 2 levels later it becomes life-stealing strike. So not a big change or evolution there, but it is a small step. Implements of Hands of Healing. Thank you. As a first rank maneuver, which is first rank, so it's 1 mana, which can be done as a magic action, bonus action, twice in the same round if you want to. You can touch a creature or yourself and heal a number of hit points equal to the result of 1 power die per mana expended, plus your channeling modifier. So at 17th level, I could pump 5d12 healing, probably plus 5, for 5 mana. I could do that once on myself, and then as a bonus action on somebody else, the same amount. I could burn 10 mana in 1 round, 5 on me, 5 on you at 17th level. Implements of Mercy, you gain proficiency in the Insight and Medicine skill, and proficiency with the Herbalism kit. It says you can use either on items. I don't see anything addressing it in the document. Is it still a rule that you can use Artificer infusions on? Yeah. Okay, cool, you found it. See, it says you can use them on items you created. Physician's Touch. Your Hand of Healing feature improves. Hand of Healing. When you use... level 6, did Hand of Harm improve? Yeah. Your hand of harm and of healing improve. Yeah, I don't know why that's not here. Let's go fix that. Poison condition. Your hand of harm and your hand of harm and hand of healing features improve. Oh, wait. What does it say? When you use Hand of Harm on a creature, you can also give that creature the poison condition until the end of your next turn. Hand of Harm. When you use the Hand of Harm, what, to damage an enemy? When you use the Hand of Harm on a creature, you can also give... Okay. When you use the Hand of Harm on a creature, it gains the poisoned condition until the end of your next turn. Thank you. Hand of Healing. When you use the Hand of Healing maneuver, you can also remove one of the following conditions: blinded, deafened, paralyzed, stunned. Cool. Flurry of Healing and Harm. Your hand of Harm and Hand of Healing features improve. Love that this corresponds to the improved flurry attacks, etc. that you get, the martial arts features. Love that. What was it? Focused powers? Well, I don't know. Anyway. Hand of Harm. When you deal necrotic damage with a monk weapon, the target is poisoned until the end of its turn. What? Your brain is glitching here, Kearney. You're missing something. Flurry of Healing Harm. When you use Flurry of Blows, you can replace each... Oh, that's weird. My brain feels derp. I need to pull this out of into its own dock. There. Now I can flip more easily. When you use Flurry of Blows, in addition, when you make an unarmed strike with Flurry of Blows and deal damage, you can hand... That's weird. Let's check it. Let's pop open a notepad. I pop open the notepad to destroy all of the editing, all the style on the text, the formatting. Thank you. When you use Flurry of Blows, you can replace each of the unarmed strikes with the use of a Hand of Healing without expending focus points, without expending mana for the heal. Wow. That's gonna have to change. When you use Flurry of Blows, you can replace each of the unarmed strikes without expending focus points. See, what we did was we opened it up so you can spend more. They let you spend 1 point of mana and that's it. We can change that. When you use Flurry of Blows, you can replace each of the unarmed strikes with the use of a Hand of Healing without use of hand. As a first rank maneuver, you can touch a creature. And now, when you use a Hand of Healing maneuver, you can also, when you use the Flurry of Blows, you can replace each of your unarmed strikes with the use of Hand of Healing. Comma. Each attack generates 1 point. When you use Flurry of Blows, you can replace each of the unarmed strikes with a use of Hand of Healing. Using Hand of Healing this way generates 1 point of temporary mana with each use. Oh, no, wait, you can do it this way. Healing. Let's do it this way. When you use Flurry of Blows, you can replace each of the unarmed strikes with a use of Hand of Healing, rolling 1 additional power die at no cost. This will allow us to have 6 dice of healing instead of 5, 5 capped at 17. How's Hand of Healing read? Hand of Healing is represented as a maneuver, which you can take the efficient power feat with to reduce the cost to 0, or rather it generates a point of mana for free for you. So if you were to prepare Hand of Healing as a maneuver, it will generate 1 point of mana for you automatically. You no longer need to prepare it at level 11. It just simply generates an extra point for you. It's no longer a maneuver, but it is a maneuver here. So you can still use it this way as a maneuver for free. Or with Healing Hands, you have to spend at least 1 point of mana, but you get an extra die for free when you do so. Rolling 1 additional power die in addition to any mana expended. Rolling 1 additional power die rolling 1 there's a way of wording this. Hold on. Rolling 1 additional power die in addition to the expended mana. Oh, be careful with Artificer because you don't get to bring equipment into the game with you. You do have a uniform though. So you could have like magic boots, magic jersey, but generally you don't get to just bring like equipment like weapons and armor and baubles and ships and shit into a match of Strixhaven. You've got your uniform, you got your shoes, but the Artificer can enchant those to be things. So you can cheat your way. I think the Artificer can cheat their way around that limitation. You also can't bring like your animal companion in. I would say that you would be able to convert, like if your jersey, if you make it like an enchanted armor thing, so it provides an armor bonus, then you would be able to convert your jersey into an armor suit. I think that would work. We just have some weird limitation rules on the Mage Tower PvP combat to not introduce a bunch of weapons and armor and equipment and shit, just to keep it really basic. But if you're just playing Street Tower, there's no reason why you wouldn't be able to use weapons and armor and shit. So I'm trying to think of how you can be reasonable with that while still maintaining the vibe of being limited on bringing stuff in. Oh, cool. Right on. Perfectly acceptable. If you're still looking for subclass options, you can check out the Siege Commander subclass that we built for the Artificer. It should be listed in the Spelljammer content on my Discord. If not, I'll make sure I post it. It's also in the description of all the Spelljammer Bastion campaign stuff that we've been doing. The link is in there and it's free to read. Just it's the first one. It's Artificer. Excuse me for a second. Something seems to be disturbing the force. Oh, that's what's going on. Sorry, I thought somebody knocked on my door, but turns out that they didn't. Let's see. Yeah, Flurry of Hands. Okay, in addition, when you make an unarmed strike with Flurry of Blows and deal damage, you can use Hand of Harm with that strike without expending a focus point for Hand of Harm. You can still use Hand of Harm only once. What the fuck is going on here? You can use those benefits a total number of times equal to your Wisdom modifier. You regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. Now, we don't need to put a limit on that. What the hell is going on with Hand of Harm? You make an unarmed strike. Hand of Harm. Without expending. In addition, when you make an unarmed strike with Flurry of Blows and deal damage, you can use Hand of Harm with that strike without expending a focus point for. I just lost power in my chair. I just lost my hydraulics. It just sank. You can still use Hand once per turn. What the fuck is going on with Hand of Harm that makes you expend mana? Okay. Hand of Harm doesn't cost any mana. What am I missing? Flurry of Blows. Hold on. Flurry of Blows specifically. When you make an unarmed strike with Flurry of Blows and deal damage, you can use Hand of Harm with that strike for Hand of Harm. I don't. What am I missing? What do I not understand? It doesn't cost anything. Oh, does this mean that it's making the Flurry of Blows free? without expending a focus point for Hand of Harm. But Hand of Harm doesn't cost any mana. What am I missing? Oh, you can expend... Oh, there it is. What? You can expend 1 focus point to deal necrotic damage? What a bullshit feature. I have to spend mana for necrotic... Jesus Christ, that's cheap. Yeah, fuck off. Yeah, absolutely not. That is such a trash... That is trash. Necrotic damage for mana? Fuck off. Meanwhile, for 1 point of mana, the cleric can hit you for 4d6 radiant damage up to 120 feet away. What? This is what I'm talking about. Sorry, I don't know how I missed that. I'm glad I missed it. That's horrible. That's so fucking bad. So in addition, when you make an unarmed strike with flurry of blows and deal damage, you can use Hand of Harm with that strike. Nope, that doesn't matter. Ooh, yeah, it does. Hand of Harm. It gains a poison condition. When you use Hand of Harm on a creature, sorry, I've improved this so much that I have to deconstruct it to see where the value is at higher levels. It's like they made it bad on purpose so they can make it less bad at higher levels. I don't like that design. I know it gives you martial weapons, but I plan on using a spear. Wait, does the artificer get me? Yeah, I think you do. I think so. No, I think it's light armor and simple weapons. Yeah, I think it's light armor and simple weapons. When you use the Hand of Harm, it gains a poison condition. Hand of Harm. You can deal necrotic or radiant damage when you hit with a monk weapon. Period. And then, at 6th level, it gains the poison condition until the end of your next turn. The unnatural adaptation, sustained power, it's 1 mana. It allows you to poison people when you hit them. So doing this for free doesn't feel bad at all at 6th level. So what the fuck are we gonna do for level 11? We can already do this thing. We don't make you pay for these things. They're just shit you can do. You can use this benefit until... Yeah, fuck off. That's not relevant anymore. Get out of here. Because you have to expend mana to use this in the first place. So that doesn't hurt. In addition, when you make an unarmed strike with flurry of blows and deal damage... What are we going to do to upgrade this? Hold on. We already give you the poison condition at 6th level. I could limit you to once a day at 6 just to take it away at 11, but I just bitched about that. So it'd be hypocritical of me to do that. In addition... It gains the poison condition. Let's contemplate our next. Let's look at Poisoning Strike. At 2nd rank. Your weapon can deal poison damage and increases damage by 1 power die per mana channeled. In addition, the creature is poisoned. The creature can attempt to end this effect by succeeding a Constitution saving throw at the end of each of its turns. Let's do that. It gains the poison condition. Okay. Oh, fucking Poisoner feat is so good. Let's shift Poisoner to 1st level as a feat. I can't because it's a Poisoner's a general feat, isn't it? God damn it. Let's go let's verify. Pretty sure Poisoner is a general feat, which we don't get access to until 5th level. Fuck you, there it is. Okay, that's not gonna jive. Strange metabolism, huh? Oh, strange metabolism is the 2nd rank power. 9th level, huh? I want to... Let's do this. Yes, let's do that. All right, we're going to look at these so we can understand the joy. This is time well spent. This is why we do this, because every time we go through, we find improvements. But this is really feeling like the final iteration. Okay, so we pushed Life-Stealing Strike to 9th level. We got Necrotic and Radiant damage at 3rd. We could pick it up as powers. We got them for free at 5th. We got Radiant at 6th for free. At 9th level, we now have Life-Stealing, which does Necrotic and Radiant damage and gives you temporary hit points, which clips in nicely at that level. Level 5, we now get the Poisoner feat and the Strange Metabolism sustained power. This is what we're going to do with that. So we get Strange Metabolism on our list at 5th level. What happens at 5th level? 2nd level power. Strange Metabolism. While sustaining this power, you are immune to poison damage and the poison condition. In addition, as a bonus action, you can make an unarmed attack that deals 1 power die of poison damage, and the creature is poisoned until it succeeds a Constitution saving throw at the end of each of its turns. So it's ongoing poison damage. So, how are we going to play that out? 5th level, Hand of Healing. 5th level, 6th level, Hand of Harm. When you use the Hand of Harm on a creature, it gained the poison condition until the end of your next turn. But you could pick up Strange Metabolism for 2 mana and deal poison damage that lasts until they can succeed a saving throw. That is a longer duration, and you'd have to pay to make use of that. And this is free. So what do we want to do? Level 11, Flurry. When you use Flurry of Blows, you can replace each of the unarmed strikes with a use of Hand of Healing rolling. In addition, when you make an unarmed strike with Flurry of Blows and deal damage, you can use Hand of Harm with that strike. Let's go with, in addition, the Strange Metabolism power is in addition, the Strange Metabolism power can be sustained for 0 mana. We already got it. Hand of Harm. Let's do it like this. When you sustain Strange Metabolism power. Oh, no, we can word this differently. The Strange Metabolism power, the Strange Metabolism power can be sustained with as a first rank power. There we go. And then at 11th level, you can sustain it at no cost. In addition, the strange metabolism power becomes permanent. If dispelled, it renews at the beginning of your next turn. Can be sustained for 0 mana. I like this better. And if dispelled, it renews at the beginning of your next turn. There. Now, what's 17 doing? Oh, I love these I love these. I love this. This is just awesome shit for me. Yeah, that all feels really, really good now. Rally's still first rank, right? It's a maneuver. Good. You and one ally you can see gains a number of temporary hit points equal to the total of 1 power die rolled for each point of mana expended this way. It's a maneuver, so it can be used as a magic action or a bonus action. That rally is a great power to have on a tactician of any sort, like a battlefield control commander. But you can build battlefield control masters out of any martial or half-caster. Like paladins make great commanders. Hand of Harm, Hand of Healing. Okay, great, that all works. Now, Hand of Ultimate Mercy. As a magic action, you can expend 5 mana and touch the corpse of a creature that has died in the last 24 hours. The creature returns to life with a number of hit points equal to blah. Once you use this feature, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest or expend 5 mana from your mana pool. Now, I don't need to have that once you blah blah again because you're already spending 5 mana to use it in the first place. No free uses, except for Strange Power. It becomes free, but it's a sustained power. I love this change. I am super happy with this. So, Warrior of Mercy. Warrior Shadow. When you choose a subclass at level 3 and at the levels listed on you gain bonus powers. These are always prepared without counting towards your total prepared powers. Like we get the Sap Mastery, we get Blind Sense as a sustained power, Skulker, which gives us bonuses in Gloom, Vanish allows us to turn invisible, Subtle Channeling, which allows us to channel powers without any visual effects, Blinding Strike makes you invisible to other people. You blind them. Cheers. Flicker Pounce allows you to teleport to a location and then hit somebody, and if you're successful, teleport back to your original location. As a maneuver, you can do that as a bonus action and as a magic action. First Strike, it's an exploit. It allows you to convert your initiative roll into an attack roll, and if you hit with the attack, you deal damage, and that is your initiative count. Assassinating Damage deals maximum damage. Whenever you make an attack, you can spend more mana to make sure all the die rolls are max damage. And then Ghost Walker allows you to become incorporeal. Shadow Art. Ghost Walker. Hold on. Does Ghost Walker still exist? I feel like it got changed. I don't think it's a sustained power anymore. Oh, no, there it is. While sustaining this power, you become incorporeal as a translucent image of yourself, gaining resistance to BPS. You can move through other creatures and objects as if they were difficult terrain. Any round you end within an object, you're ejected from the space, returning to the last position you occupied or nearest location in space, and you're incapacitated until the beginning of your next turn. When you're incapacitated, you lose sustained powers. So if you end your turn inside of an object, it will knock you out, it'll incapacitate you, and all your powers will dump. So in that sense, it's fair to go ahead and keep it sustained like that. I like that. And while sustaining this power, you can channel 2 mana as an exploit to become ethereal until the beginning of your next turn. Hey, timely timer. So that is one of the default powers of the Warrior of Shadow now. So let's look at the fancy Shadow arts. Do I have my drink? Yes, I do. Hey, what's up? Is the Cartographer subclass your idea? No. That's actually in the Artificer, the Forge of the Artificer now. I translated it, but it's a pretty powerful subclass. Also, what was the subclass you were talking called, or was it? No, it was the siege. It was the siege commander. Hold on, real quick. I'll go track it down for you. Let's go to. I'll take the detour real fast. Let's go to Phil Kearney. And then let's go to playlists. In command, Eberron, extracted conversations, Spelljammer campaign development, combat and exploration game mechanics, Spelljammer combat and exploration, martial powers, Ravnica Rangers, tap and tap, Point Warlocks. I think it's up here in combat exploration game mechanics. Oh no, that's my learning guide. It's something different. Hold on, I'm looking for it. I'll find it. Production. Here we go. Spelljammer combat and exploration production. Here's our list. Let's go down. PC tokens. Light. Oh, babe, there's a lot. Where the fuck is it? There should be spell class. Campaign development, extracted conversations. Where the fuck did you go? Production. I'm having a hard time finding it. Tell you what, let's try doing it this way. Orbital. Spelljammer subclasses. Oh, that's where it's at. Hold on, derp. Dumbified over here. Let's go to Eberron campaign. The Eberron Spelljammer Bastion campaign. And description. Spelljammer subclasses. Here it is. Here's the weapon masteries associated with each type of ship weapon. Artificer, siege engineer. Here you go. Carpenter and smith tools. Creating siege weapons. Siege engineer spells. Hunter's mark. Tensor's floating disc. Tensor's floating disc, by the way, can carry a ballista. So if you use Tensor's floating disc, you create underneath your ballista, you can pick up your ballista and carry it around with you. Or rather, you can drag it around behind you on the floating disc. Enhanced ability, warding bond, aura vitality, wind wall. Warding bond is good to protect and reduce damage for your crew. Aura vitality, wind wall, fabricate, stone skin, animate object, awaken. Awaken is so that you can make your siege weapons, you can make them allies, and they can then crew themselves, so you don't have to worry about having weapon crews. Like your catapult doesn't need 5 crew. The catapult itself can operate, can load and fire itself because it's been awakened. It's now an animated, a living creature. You can create siege weapons. You can make it extra attacks with your bonus actions. You can provide extra cover for your crew that are adjacent to a siege weapon. Siege minions. You can, when you create a siege weapon feature, you can instead magically create an animated ballista that can be commanded to attack. Animate object spell. The ballista has a reload score, so this allows you to animate an object instead of awaken it. So it's not a living creature; it's just a construct that operates the same way, and you get extra attacks with it. So it's basically siege weapon combat focused. But if you build a mecha that's equipped with a siege weapon on it, which is one of the modifications you can do, you can carry a siege weapon on your mecha, and now your artificer is specifically built around making that siege weapon operate efficiently. Anyway, maybe it's not I don't know. Maybe it's useful. Maybe it's not. Your choice. But it's there. And again, it's here in the adventure design every week. Here's the subclass. Here's the Bastion campaign book. Here's the Mecha Kaiju book in progress. And here's the published Spelljammer book. Boink, 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 boink. Back on track. Sorry, worthwhile question. Had to take that tangent. Shadow Arts, Darkness. As a maneuver, again, which can be done as a magic action or a bonus action, you can expend 1 mana to create a 15-foot radius globe of darkness within 60 feet of you. That darkness cannot be seen through, and non-magical light cannot illuminate. When determining what level of light magic it can dispel, or that can be dispelled by it when their areas overlap, the effective level of darkness is equal to half your monk level rounded up. So at 19th level as a monk, it is effectively a 10th level spell that can shut down literally anything else in the game. Dark Vision, 60 feet, and if you already have it, you can see through Shadowy Figments. You know the minor illusion cantrip using your channeling ability modifier. In addition, you can see in there. That should totally be there. Because you're going to be running around in darkness all the time. You should fucking be able to see through it. Dark Vision. In addition, you can see through the darkness. And minor illusion cantrip. Level 6 Shadow Step. You gain the ability to step from one shadow into another. Yeah, we don't get Flicker Pounce until 13. When you are in dim light or darkness, as a bonus action, you can teleport up to 60 feet to an unoccupied space that you can see that is also in dim light or darkness. You then have advantage on the first melee attack you make before the end of the turn. Improve Shadow Step. When you use your When you use your Shadow Step as a kicker cost, you can expend 1 mana to ignore the requirement to either start or end in dim light or darkness for that use of Shadow Step. As part of this bonus action, you can make a melee attack with a monk weapon immediately after you teleport. Basically, you're getting Flicker Pounce, a deconstructed version of Flicker Pounce. Flicker Pounce allows you to do it anywhere without having to be in Shadow. All of this stuff is allowing you to do it for free in Shadow, or for very cheap. 1 mana as opposed to 3. 3 in the light, 1 in the Shadow. And Flicker Pounce lets you teleport back. This would force you to make extra action economy to flicker back. Shadow Step, improve Shadow Step. You can expend, ignore the requirement to either start. Yeah. It has to be to both start and end. You can ignore the effect to either start or end. Good. And then Cloak of Shadows, 3rd rank maneuver. While entirely within dim light or darkness, you can shroud yourself within shadows. If you enter bright light, this effect is immediately dismissed. While you remain shrouded in shadows this way, you gain the following benefits. Invisibility. Partial incorporeality. So, you end your turn in this space, you are shunted to the last unoccupied space. Shadow Flurry. You can use Flurry of Blows without expending any mana. It's a 3rd rank maneuver, so it's going to cost you 3 mana, and you get Shadow Flurry for free, which was only 1 mana. Invisibility is 2 mana, and the Incorporeal is a Ghost Walk is a 3rd rank power, so this is a shitload of value at 17th level. Very nice. And then, yeah, I'm good with that. I don't think I need to do anything else with it. Warrior of Elements. The Elemental Key will remain in place. We're probably going to update Elemental Key as well with some of these modifications that we've made to the base class up here, but largely, Elemental Key is already what we've seen of the base chassis. It just added 50 spells that you could cast with elemental mana. Bonus powers, Adaptive Resistance. That gives you resistance to damage types. Empowered Ability gives you advantage on rolls for a particular stat. Excuse me. Overrun allows you to deal damage when you move adjacent to creatures. Actually, when you move through the area of creatures. Aquatic Anatomy allows you to breathe underwater. Cursed Brand makes saving throws against you at disadvantage. Thicket of Pain deals elemental damage anytime someone is within melee range of you. Bursting Strike deals deals AoE damage to targets around a target that you hit. Curse of Exposure takes away creatures' resistances to elemental damage. Indestructible makes you resistant to all damage as a sustained 4th rank power. So at 17th level, you can have up to 5 mana sustained at once. This will eat 4 of it. But if you do, you're resistant to all damage, and as a reaction, you can dismiss the indestructibility and become immune to one type of damage. So like if I get hit with a fireball and I have indestructible active, I'm already resistant to fire. But if I wanted to, as a reaction, I could dismiss indestructible as a power and gain immunity to fire damage until the beginning of my next turn. There you go. And then Resilient Save allows me to boost saving throws in general. No, Resilient Save is if I succeed a saving throw against something that would deal damage, kind of like Evasion. It could be a Charisma saving throw, it doesn't matter. If it would deal damage to me, I'll take none or half if I fail. It's basically universal evasion, but it'll cost you 3 mana. It's 3 mana per use. It's expensive, but it's a good get out of trouble card when you need it. So let's go through this. Elemental Attunement. When you take this archetype at 3rd level, you can channel Elemental Attunement as a 1st rank sustained power. While sustained, you can choose to increase the reach of unarmed attacks and natural weapons by 10 feet. And deal elemental damage instead of your normal weapon damage type from the following list: Acid, Cold, Fire, Lightning, Thunder. You can change the damage type each time you hit with an attack this way. In addition to, as a unique combat mastery, you can move the target 10 feet towards or away from you. In addition, let's just do it like that. In addition, you can move the target 10 feet towards or away from you. No, that's good. Where'd it go? There I am. and deal elemental damage instead of normal weapon damage type in the following list. Oh, as a first rank sustained power. You can choose to increase the reach of your unarmed attacks and natural weapons by 10 feet and deal elemental damage instead of your normal weapon damage. Okay, I'm fine with that. Manipulate elements. Third level, you learn the Elementalist feat. This isn't the best. I want to chew on this for a second. First rank sustained power. That's clashing with adaptive resistance at first power and empowered ability at first power. I can't do all three of these things until 9th level. I've got a shitload of sustained powers. I'm just stacking up on this dude. One, two, 3, 4, 5, 8. No, 5, 9. A total of 9, 10. A total of 10 ranks worth of sustained powers tacked onto this character. You can't use all those tools at the same time. It's not horrible. Let's look at the actual feature, because I feel like there's an opportunity here. Hey, what's up? And shield. Oh, very good. Subclass. I started looking at others, but it's hard to not love the idea of having a giant mecha dog. I know. I love giant mecha dogs. Yeah. I totally get it. You could put a mounted weapon on the back of your dog. That'd be awesome. Let's see how this works. Expend 1 focus point to imbue yourself. The energy lasts... Oh, it lasts for 10 minutes. Okay, I see how that is. You can expend 1 focus point. Sustained powers last forever. This only lasts 10 minutes a pop. So for 1 focus point, at the sacrifice of any other sustained power, that actually is fair. It's a tough decision, but it's fair. Okay, I'm content with that. Elemental cantrip, great. You can channel Elemental Burst as a 2nd rank maneuver, level 6. You can channel Elemental Burst as... you can channel Elemental Burst as a 2nd rank maneuver. So for 2 mana as an action, bonus action, twice in the same round if you want. Dealing an amount of damage equal to 1 power die per mana expended this way. You can choose Acid Cold, ACFLT, AC Acflit. You can choose to deal Acflit damage to all creatures within a 20-foot radius of a location up to 100. Oh, it's Fireball. Creatures within the area of effect can make a dex save for half. To reduce it, yeah. Okay. Stride of the Elements, while sustaining... This will eventually be 5d12 at 17th level. So, on average, 30 damage, 15 if saved. For 5 mana pop. That's not bad. Stride of the Elements. While sustaining elemental attunement, you also gain fly and swim speed. Cool with that. While sustaining elemental attunement as a 2nd rank power. Oh, sorry, elemental epitome. While sustaining elemental attunement as a 2nd rank power, your movement speed increases an additional 20 feet, and you're gaining resistance to one of these things. You can change which element you resist at the beginning of each of your turns as a reaction. At the beginning of your turn. Oh, okay. In addition, is that how... Let's look at that again. You can change which element you resist at the beginning of your turn. At the beginning of each of your turns. Thank you, Timely Timer. Is that 120 minutes? 2 hours. Where are we at? 8 o'clock. I have an hour and a half. Yeah, I've been kicking for about an hour and a half on this. Cool. And we're almost done. So we're making good time. We had about 30 minutes worth of ramp up time ahead of that, so we should be okay for the Paladin. Okay, so second rank power. Yeah, sustaining as a second rank power. More speed and elemental damage. In addition, while sustaining this power, you deal an extra power die of damage when you deal your chosen elemental damage type with your monk weapon. This extra die can be added to any additional power dice rolled when you channel a strike power. Lastly, when you sustain elemental attunement. You gain the benefit of the Overrun exploit. Dealing 1 power... Do we have Overrun? Yes, we do. Lastly, when you sustain elemental attunement, you gain the benefit of the Overrun exploit, dealing 1 power die of acid, cold, fire, Akflit damage. You can expend additional mana to increase the amount of damage dealt and spaces moved through as described in the power above. There you go. Okay, cool. So, easy peasy. Let's look at Overrun real quick since it's relevant. Exploit. There it is. You can channel this exploit as part of your movement. So when I move, while I'm moving, I can expend 1 or more mana. You can move through a number of 5-foot spaces occupied by creatures of your choice equal to the mana expended this way. So at 9th level, I can channel up to 3 mana, which means I can move through 5 spaces occupied by creatures, like 3 medium-sized creatures or 1 huge-sized creature, a large-sized creature, and a medium-sized creature, for instance. You can choose to deal damage to any creature occupying space that you move through this way, dealing 1 power die of force damage for each mana channeled this way. A creature can dex save for half damage. If you end your movement in a space occupied by another creature, you instead end your turn in the most recently unoccupied space that you moved through during your turn without dealing any damage to the creature. You can channel this power more than once during a turn, but creatures can only take damage this way once. So if I can move 60 feet as a monk, and there's 8 targets on the battlefield that I could potentially move through, I could break it up into 2 mana chunks. 2 characters, do 2 points of damage to them, then move through another 2, deal 2 points of 2 dice of damage to them, dice of damage. Or I could, like at, say, 17th level, I could dump 5 mana into Overrun and move through 5 squares with the creatures, dealing 5d12 damage to each of them. And now I have 3 targets left over. I could spend another 5 points and hit those 2 dudes too, spending 10 points of mana during my turn to deal 5d12 damage to... Well, I could, with 5d10 twice, I could do up to 10 targets, dealing 5d10 damage to each of them for 10 mana. So 5d12 damage. Not quite as efficient as a flashbang wizard or sorcerer, but it is an exploit, so I can reduce its cost, and I can generate mana for free to use it. So I could sacrifice at 17th level as a monk. I could sacrifice both of my attacks and my bonus action for 3 mana to get 5 free mana that I then just use during my movement to burn 5 mana to deal 5d12 damage to 5 targets for free every round, and I still have my reaction. But, I mean, these are 17th level characters. That actually is pretty big flashbang comparable to the type of damage that wizards can do. Not as much as a wizard can do, but you can sustain it perpetually, which isn't that what we talked about at the very beginning of this session, explaining how the marshal is supposed to be able to do what they do all day, but all they ever get to do is swing a sword. You have to give them magic items to make that shit good. This system allows you to make that shit good. When you get with this system, when you get and we'll look at it later on. When you get magic items with this system, it basically breaks down all the magic items into powers that your character can have, and pays for that cost yourself. So, like, you could take Vicious Weapon as a weapon property and gain 2 dice of damage, 2 power dice of damage whenever you attack for free. But like at 17th level, you'd still have a maximum channel limit of 5. So the weapon gives you 2 free points of mana to strike with, doing 2 dice of damage as listed in the DMG. But a 17th level character can ramp up to 5 dice by spending 5 mana. The weapon pays for 2 for free, so you only have to spend 3 extra points to then, like, 1 point deals 3 dice instead of 2. At 17th, 3 mana plus the Vicious Weapon 2 would be a total of 5 dice of extra damage on top of whatever your weapon normally does. So you see how that works? Frostbrand, Flame Tongue, they all work that way. Generally, if it can be mapped to a power, the magic item gets converted to a power. And now you can use all your exploits and shit with it. Like, if I have a magic ring that gives me adaptive resistance, and that ring pays 1 point of it, and I take adaptive resistance and I've made it efficient, then I'd be able to drop the cost to 0 because my ring is going to pay for 1 point for that, and then my feat selection reduced the cost by 1 as well. It now doesn't cost any mana for me to use adaptive adaptive anatomy or whatever. You see how that works? Anyway, worth noting. So I'm pretty chill with this. So let's look at this again real quick. Overrun normally deals force damage. So while sustaining elemental attunement as a second rank power, your movement, in addition, lastly, while you sustain elemental attunement, you gain the benefit of the overrun exploit, dealing 1 power die of acid, cold, fire, lightning, or thunder damage. You can expend additional mana to increase the amount. Okay, got it. So this power just basically lets us convert overrun into elemental damage instead of force damage. Cool. I'm super content with that. Warrior of Open Hand. This is our last, and then we'll get into the. I'll take a quick bio break, and then we'll get into the Paladin for the second half of the session. Bonus powers, close quarter combat. This allows you to basically gain advantages in grappling. Grappling strike, we talked about that earlier. This is a strike power that when you attack somebody, you can initiate grappling for free while dealing damage. You just can't use that weapon while you're maintaining the grapple. Extended reach is a sustained power. Each point of mana sustained increases your reach by 5 feet. Mobile feat increases speed another 10 feet. Blind sense is as it reads. Deflection allows us to make a d20 test to contest an attack roll to potentially turn the attack into a miss. Regeneration allows us to heal and end conditions. Restraining Hold is an upgrade from close quarter combat. Restraining Hold is whenever you grapple somebody, you can spend 2 points of mana and they are now restrained on top of being grappled. Moving target, reaction 2. Any creature that's moving within reach of you, even if they've used the disengage action, you can make an attack against them as a reaction. And then Thicket of Pain is a 2 mana sustained power. It deals power dice of damage around you. Anyone that's within reach of your melee attack automatically takes power dice of damage at the beginning of each of their turns. And you can ramp that up to deal more damage with more mana spent. So, open hand technique. Now, starting when you choose this tradition at 3rd level, you can choose 2 combat masteries to add to your list of prepared powers. And you increase the number of additional combat masteries prepared as you gain more levels of monk on the listed table. So at level 3, you have 2, and it will eventually have 6 combat masteries, We already get Topple and Grapple from the base kit of the Monk, so we end up having 8 combat masteries for free. There's 12 total that are in the book, so you don't get all of them, but you're probably going to get all the ones that you want and then some. Graze. Always pick up Graze. It's such a great power. If you miss, you can deal damage anyway. Wholeness of Body. You can heal yourself as a maneuver. Rolling a number of power dice equal to the mana expended this way, gaining that many hit points. You can also spend hit dice while doing so, expending a number of hit dice up to the maximum rank of power gained as a monk. So at 6th level, it's 2 mana limit. You can put 2 power dice, which are d8s. So for 2 mana, you can heal 2d8 and spend 2d8 hit dice all on top of it to deal additional healing if you want. Fleet Step, 11. When you use any bonus action other than Step of the Wind, you gain an additional bonus action to use Step of the Wind before, during, or after the chosen bonus action. That is an awesome ability. I have no reason to change that. Quivering Palm, 17. You gain the ability to set up lethal vibrations in someone's body. And when you hit a creature with an unarmed strike, you can expend 4 mana to start these imperceptible vibrations, which last for a number of days equal to your monk level. The vibrations are harmless until you trigger the vibrations to end them as an action, or if you take the attack action, one of the attacks. To do so, you and the target must be on the same plane of existence, and when you trigger the vibrations, the creature must make a Constitution saving throw. If it fails, it takes 10d12 force damage, or half if successful. You can have only 1 creature under the effect of this feature at a time. You can choose to end the vibration harmlessly without using any action. It's not an exploit. It's not a maneuver. It's not a reaction. So it can't. You can't use action economy to generate mana to activate Quivering Palm. It's always going to cost you 4 mana, which isn't a crazy cost. It's actually pretty reasonable. Feel almost like upgrading that to 5. Yeah, I'm gonna make that 5 mana. Let's hold on before we do something crazy. Let's look at the class feature itself and see what it's supposed to do, and then we'll just go with that. 4 mana. Okay, we'll leave it. 5 mana feels more sensible to me, but whatever. There you go. And then the rest of them are Forsaken Monk classes. All the other subclasses that have ever been published by Wizards of the Coast are listed in here, including the stuff that's been in Unearthed Arcana, but none of it's official yet. So we're not going to publish any of it. We're just sticking with the 4 base classes that we had. And how many of these are there? Thank you, Paladin. So Paladin's up next, but I need to take a bio break. So I'm going to step away for a hot second, and I'll be right back, guys. All right, we're back. All right, let's do the Paladin. This will be the 4th time we've reiterated the Paladin. I'm not expecting to find any mistakes, but I'm keeping my eyes open in case we see anything that needs revisions. Same scaffold that we've seen before, mana from 1 to 20 on a short rest. If you're using just normal spell points without martial powers, the Paladin has 40 mana by 20th level on a long rest. Cheers. It's I'm planning on building martial powers as a separate book from the spell point variant rule core mechanics. Unfortunately, that means I need to list the paladin and the ranger in the core mechanics with the spell casting in mind for those half casters, not thinking about martial powers. So I'm going to have to downgrade some of this stuff, but this is used again. We'll look at it together. You can see here the paladin, it gets us D6, D8, D10, power die progression like everyone else. With the martial powers, the paladin becomes a channeler first that can prepare spells. So while like say the warlock is a spellcaster that can prepare powers, the artificer, the paladin, and the ranger become channelers that can cast spells. Starting at first level, channeling. So the paladin can choose between strength, wisdom, and charisma for your channeling score, which is really useful for multi-classing. It still has the same charisma multi-class requirement. You still have out of 13 in your charisma, the multi-class into paladin. But once you're in, you can use strength as your channeling stat. Like if you're playing like a fighter paladin for whatever reason, then you'd be able to use strength as your channeling class, as your channeling ability for both the fighter and the paladin. The rogue, for instance, can use dexterity, intelligence, or charisma. So you could play a paladin rogue and have charisma be your channeling stat for both of them, which would make sense for that type of a build. Martial powers, you get 4 of them. Again, fighting styles and weapon masteries are folded into your prepared powers. That includes spells that you would be able to prepare. So you're a little throttled here at first, but at 5th level, when you would normally get fighting styles, you get an extra power. So you have 3 spells, 2 weapon masteries, or 3 spells and 2 fighting styles. It's up to you. Or 5 fighting styles. Fuck spells. Who cares? Whatever you want. However you want to mix them up. Beginning at 1st level, you also learn 4 powers for the martial power list. You gain additional powers as you gain levels. You can swap 1 prepared power for another when you finish a long rest, and you can swap all prepared powers when you gain a level. That is a downgrade to the paladin, but this language is better for the ranger, so we have these 2 meet in the middle. This is also how bards, sorcerers, and scions work now. They can swap all their spells when they gain a level, and they can swap 1 spell after every long rest. So they get a lot more flexible utility over time. And again, note is the fighting styles and weapon masteries are prepared as meta powers, but are not automatically gained as class features. Mana pool, short rest equal to your level. Spellcasting with power. Starting at 1st level, you can choose to learn spells on the Paladin spell list instead of powers, The amount of mana spent to cast a spell is equal to the level of the spell cast. Spellcasting follows all normal rules for components, maintaining concentration, etc. Spellcasting ability. You can use your channeling ability as your spellcasting ability as well. Spellcasting focus. So your channeling ability is your spellcasting ability. So if I choose strength for my channeling stat, I can also cast spells as strength as well. Again, we're channeler first that can cast spells through our spell channeling, our mana channeling. 1, 2, 3. You are not limited to casting 1 spell with mana per round. For example, you can cast a level 3 spell that uses the magic action and a level 2 spell that uses the bonus action, like Misty Step and Fireball, whatever. During your turn, if you have 5 mana available. Concentration. Let's, I feel like I want to shift this down. Let's move this out of here. There we go. Empowered actions. When you expend action economy during combat to generate temporary mana, during combat is generally universally acknowledged as if you've rolled initiative, this now opens up. And it stays active until you drop initiative. So empowered actions, when you expend action economy during combat to generate temporary mana, you can expend the mana to cast one of your bonus spells with a duration of instantaneous or concentration instead of channeling a power. So every subclass gets 10 bonus spells. Those spells you can use with empowered actions. You are not limited to casting one spell with mana per round, blah, blah, blah. Let's see. Using martial powers. Oh, wait, concentration. You maintain concentration on spells and sustain powers both up to your max rank of power. For example, at 17th level, you can sustain 5 ranks of power and maintain concentration on up to 5 mana. You can maintain concentration on up to 5 levels of spells. Okay, so the pure martial can channel up to 5 ranks of power. The full caster at 20th level can concentrate on up to 10 levels worth or 10 mana worth of spellcasting. A half caster at 17th level can sustain 5 ranks of power and maintain 5 levels worth of spells for a total of 10 total. 5 powers, 5 spells equals 10 total. The full caster has 10 levels, all spell casting. The martial has only 5 ranks of pure power. The half caster 5 power, 5 levels of spell at the same time. You see how that works? Half caster. It occupies that. Now that all the martials are half casting resources, the same as the half casters, and they're all using the same mana pool as the full casters. Martial and half are roughly equal in power, but the half casters have more flexibility in what they're capable of doing. So fun stuff. We're going to look at the list of bonus powers and consider whether we're going to expand on it or not. And of course, down here it says, finally, using martial powers replaces the Paladin smite spells as described above. Remove these spells from the Paladin spell list and replace it with something else. Smite spells have been removed from all Paladin bonus spell lists and are replaced with powers with similar strike powers. Period. Okay, cool. Also, level 1, lay on hands. Some of this will sound familiar. You can channel divine energy that rejuvenates yourself and your allies. You gain a pool of hit points equal to 5 times your paladin level, 100 at level 20, which is recovered when you finish a long rest. As a bonus action, you can touch a creature, including yourself, and spend a number of points that remain in the pool to restore that many hit points. Purge poison. You can spend 5 hit points in the pool to remove the poison condition. Doing so does not also restore hit points. Restore mana. You can expend hit points to restore mana. You can spend 5 hit points in the pool to recover Actually, let's leave it where it was. Hold on. You can expend hit points to restore mana. For every 5 hit points expended this way, the target recovers 1 point of mana. Doing so does not also restore hit points. There you go. So you become a mana battery. By 20th level, you can restore up to 20 mana per day. For yourself or somebody else, any mix. Divine Smite. Immediately after you hit with a melee weapon attack, you can expend your bonus action to generate temporary mana and channel it as part of a strike power. For example, a level 2 Paladin has a max channel limit of 1, and you can expend your bonus action to gain 1 temporary mana. You can use the temporary mana and expend 1 mana from your pool to channel a strike power, dealing 2 power dice of damage. The total amount of mana you can expend to channel a strike with a melee attack increases as you gain additional Paladin levels, as listed on the Smite mana table below. Smite level, Smite. Let's go. Paladin level, mana max. There we go. Good enough. Level 2. You can expend 1 mana. You have 1 mana max, plus bonus dies, plus 1 die. Smite 2. Let's go here with bonus action. Power dice. And then here we'll go versus Fiend or Undead. So, second level, we have a mana max of 1. Bonus action gives us a +1. Power dice equals 2, or 3 versus Undead. At 5th level, our max mana limit is 2. We get 1 from a bonus action. That means a maximum of 3 power dice. 4 versus Undead. 9th level, max channel limit is 3. We get 2 mana from a bonus action. That's a total of 5 dice. This would be 2d6, 3d6, 5d8, 6d8, 8d10. There. So at 17th level, max channel limit is 5. You get 3 from a bonus action. That's a total of 8d10 dice that you get to deal. There you go. All Paladins add the Martial Strike power to your list of prepared powers. So you get the Martial Strike power for free. We'll look at that. Give me a second. I'm going to close ranks on this. This doesn't count towards the total number of powers or spells that you can prepare. Let's look at Martial Strike real quick because it's super fucking cool. Oh, Forge, if you're still around, since you're looking at the mecha campaign, your mecha is a vehicle. It's technically not a magic item. It has a spelljamming chair, but you can build you can customize your mecha with your mods if you want, and then you can use your infusions to add more mods to your mecha if you want to, or you can enchant the mecha with powers. Like your mecha sword can have like Vicious Strike or like Vicious Weapon property or whatever. Yeah, so there you go. So you can add that to your bag of tricks if you want to have like a wand of firebolt, like a wand of fireballs built into your mecha, you can do that, for instance. And it's 20 feet in size, so you can just use it, like you can deck it out with whatever magical equipment that you want, but obviously it would only be useful if you're in your mecha. So you might want to think about, if you're building that, like out of mecha, have some infusion powers, like infusion spell, magical effects, and then in your mecha, you might want to have some, depending on how you want to play your character. But you'll always be able to switch those around from day to day. I just want to make sure you're aware of that's a flex that your artificer will have access to, regardless of what type of subclass you get. Although a mecha pilot specialist for artificer sounds pretty fucking fun. All right, so oh yeah, martial strike. That's what we were looking for. That's the idea I have for the character. He loves to use the returning weapon infuse. Oh, super fun. If you want to use your mecha with a giant spear, dealing an extra, like doing what, 3 dice of damage instead of 1, you can make that returning as well. Yes. Where was it? There it is, Martial Strike. Okay, first rank power, 1 mana or better, starting at level 1. When you channel this strike, when you channel this power, I can get rid of all of that language because I don't need it. Your weapon damage increases by 1 power die per mana channeled, and the power die roll is 1 size larger than your current die, up to a D12. So if you're using martial strikes as a paladin, you get it for free at 2nd level as a paladin. But it does the damage. It upgrades the damage die. It doesn't have any cool kicker effects like temporary hit points or grapple somebody or banish them or whatever. It just deals damage. So at 1st level, you would normally deal a D6. The Martial Strike allows you to deal D8. So if you use Martial Strike with your Paladin Smite ability at 2nd level, you will, for 1 mana, deal 2d8 damage. And you can use, as a kicker effect, you can use 1 combat mastery you have prepared, or that is the property of the weapon that you hit with. So normally, if you channel a strike power, you can't use a mastery with it. If you use a weapon mastery, you can't channel mana to strike, to deal extra damage with a strike power. It's kind of like I can't cast lightning bolt and chill touch at the same time. They're different things. One's a cantrip, one's a leveled spell. I can't use my action economy to do both of them. Similarly, since strike powers are on hit effects, when I hit, I have to choose, am I going to spend mana to deal more damage, or am I going to use a weapon mastery to do an effect for free? But if I take the Martial Strike power, I can expend mana to do more damage than I normally would, and I can use a weapon mastery at the same time. So the Martial Strike is a really great core ability that both the Ranger and the Paladin get automatically for free, because it's so integral to how their subclasses and their abilities work. So in this case, all Paladins get Martial Strike so that they can deal the extra die of damage for 1 mana to equal the smite damage that a 1st level, in normal casting, the Divine Smite spell for 1 spell slot deals 2d8 radiant damage. This, whenever you use Divine Smite with a bonus action, it automatically deals radiant damage, and the bonus action lets you spend an extra, get an extra die of damage on top of the 1 mana that you spend, and the die is increased from a d6 to a d8. So it is, yet again, duplicating the spell effect using the mechanics and language of the martial power system, which has been calibrated to really respect the bounded accuracy curve, and to basically be able to replicate all the other stuff that we could normally do in 5e using this different mechanical language for powers. I in no way disparage Wizards for not attempting to go down this path. We've literally been working on it for like 20 months at this point. It's been a massive project. Balancing, play testing, refeeling things, getting shit locked down, and we're still finding ways to just make it feel better. So this is going to end up being one of those things that I just eventually have to give up on, because it'll never be good enough for it to be perfect. I'll just have to quit at some point, and then just like with the just like with the Color Mana books, just come back every 9 or 12 months just to reassess stuff, to see if playing and whatever is changing my perspective about how things are. I always have the ability to go back in and change it, because I did literally everything in the book. I can change it anytime that I want and not have to worry about consulting anybody. Once the editing's done, that's good. So anyway, so let's get back into it. Paladin, we got a lot to do, and we don't have a lot of time to do it. Paladin subclasses, 3, 7, 15, 20 is really weird. Channel Divinity, 3rd level, you can channel divine energy to cause different magical effects. All paladins start with Divine Sense, which is described below. Other paladin features give additional channel divinity effect options. Each time you use channel divinity, choose which effect to create. You can use this feature twice. You regain 1 use of its expended uses when you finish a short rest, and you get them all back. And you can regain 1 use by expending 2 mana. You regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. And you gain an additional use when you reach level 11. If a channel divinity effect requires a saving throw, the DC is your channeling DC. Divine Sense, as noted. As a bonus action, you can open your awareness to detect celestials, fiends, and undead for the next 10 minutes or until you have the incapacitated condition. You know the location of any creature of these types within 60 feet of yourself. You know its type. Within the same radius, you can also detect the presence of any place or object that has been consecrated or desecrated, as with the Hallow spell. Cool. Feet, 4, 8, 16, 12. Extra attack at 5, as usual. Faithful Steed. You always have the Find Steed spell prepared. Congratulations. I feel like this is something that should have alternate features for, like at 7th, like at 8th level. No. So yeah, at 7th level, it feels like at 7th level you should get like an extra bonus spell. I mean, but you do get spells at 3, 5, 9, 13, 17. So it'd be kind of like a hat on a hat. This just feels like a hat and a hat in general. Anyway, Aura of Protection, starting at 6th level, whenever you or a friendly creature within 10 feet of you must make a saving throw, the creature gains a bonus to the saving throw equal to your max rank of power gained as a paladin. Instead of just being your charisma bonus right out of the gate, at 6th level it will be a +2. By 17th level, it will be a +5. It will scale and respect the bounded accuracy curve. And a +5 bonus at level 6 is huge. We all know this. Yeah, you have to be within 10 feet of the paladin, but eventually it'll be 30 feet of the paladin. And by the time you get to 17th level, having a 20 in a stat is expected. You no longer have to speed run to that COD 20 to get your best benefit, because it's not going to matter. It's going to parse out over time. By the time you get to 17th level as a paladin, it'll be a +5 bonus. Instead of just taking a 6th level dip to pick up that sweet COD 5 bonus for everybody forever and then bail to go to Sorkadin or something. Yeah. At 18th level, the range is increased to 30 feet. Abjure Foes, 9, magic action. You can expend 1 use of your class's channel divinity to target a number of creatures equal to your channeling ability modifier, minimum of 1 creature that you can see within 60 feet of yourself. Each target must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or have the frightened condition for 1 minute or until it takes any damage. While frightened in this way, the target can do only one of the following on its turn's move, act, or bonus action. Cool. 10. Courage. You and your allies have immunity to the frightened condition while in your aura of protection. If a frightened ally enters the aura, that condition has no effect on the ally while there. Restoring touch. When you use lay on hands on a creature, you can also remove one of the following conditions: blinded, charmed, deafened, frightened, paralyzed, stunned, blah. You must expend 5 hit points from your healing pool of lay on hands for each of these conditions you remove. These points don't also restore hit points. Notice it doesn't limit you to 1 per round. one or more of the following conditions for 5 points each. So charmed, frightened, paralyzed, stunned. Cheers. Epic boon. You gain an epic boon. You qualify for, you get. Oaths of Power. Paladin gain all their subclass features from the below modifications. If a feature isn't listed, it is unchanged. So here are your oath spells. Again, let's take a look at these real quick. This will probably slow us down a little bit. But it feels worth it. I'm going to wait for that to queue up, and we'll come back and look at this later. Sacred Weapon. We need to take... I'm looking for... Thank you. You're going to give me the thing? No? There it is. Thank you. Protection from good and evil. Ooh, concentration with an asterisk. Asterisk means you can keep it up all day, as long as you can continue maintaining concentration. Shield of Faith. Also concentration. You can keep it up all day for 1 mana, as long as you can maintain concentration. Aid. Persistent. Zone of Truth. I think that's just flat concentration. Oh, yeah. It's limited duration. Beacon of Hope. Asterisk C. Dispel Magic is instant. Freedom of Movement is sustained, but I think it has a limit. Freedom of Movement. Oh, I guess it is 4th. Just duration. Guardians of Faith. Where'd you go, buddy? There it is. Duration as well. Commune. Duration. And Flame Strike, I think, is I, isn't it? I. Okay, so spells that we can channel mana. We can sacrifice action economy to cast for free during combat. Protection from evil, Shield of Faith, Beacon of Hope, Dispel Magic, Flame Strike. Those are the 5 spells that we can cast at no cost if we're willing to sacrifice. Like at 17th level, Flame Strike's 5 mana. It takes a magic action to cast, so I could sacrifice my bonus action at 17 to generate 3 points of mana for free. I could sacrifice my reaction to generate 1 point of mana. And so my 5th level spell would cost reaction and bonus action plus 1 point of mana from my mana pool, which I could then use Lay on Hands to burn 5 points of 5 hit points to regain that 1 point of mana. So I could Flame Strike in combat 40 times per day, basically, assuming there's no short rest. If I'm willing to burn my entire mana pool to do that. I probably don't have 20 rounds of combat a day planned out. Maybe over the course of a long rest on a Bastion turn I would. But at 17th level, you should be able to do things that you do all day. Isn't that the whole point of Marshals? Is that they can't do things as amazing as full casters can, but what they can do, they can do all day. This literally allows you to Flame Strike shit all day because it's an instant spell in combat. You can generate mana to pay for it. There you go. So, Sacred Weapon. You can take the attack action. You can expend one use of your Channel of Divinity to imbue one melee weapon that you're holding with positive energy for 10 minutes or until you choose to use this feature again. You add your channeling ability modifier to attack rolls you make with the weapon, and you can choose to deal radiant damage. This costs 2 mana for 10 minutes because you can regain Channel of Divinity for 2 mana. Emits 20-foot bright light, dim light 20 more. You can end the effect, no action required. The effect also ends if you aren't carrying the weapon. Aura of Devotion. You and your allies have immunity to the charmed condition while in the Aura of Protection. If a charmed ally enters the area, that condition is no longer effect while in the area. Smite of Protection. Whenever you sacrifice your bonus action to use the Divine Smite feature, so whenever you're using your bonus action to ramp damage, you and your allies have half cover while in your protection aura. The aura has this benefit until the start of your next turn. Holy Nimbus at 20 as a bonus action. You can imbue your aura of protection with holy power, granting you the benefit below for 10 minutes or until you end them. No action required. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest or you're willing to expend 5 mana to regain it. No action required. So if I already use this, I can just choose as a bonus action to spend 5 mana and pop Holy Nimbus. It's very smooth. Holy Ward. You have advantage on any saving throws you are forced to make by a fiend or undead. Radiant damage. Whenever an enemy starts its turn in the aura, that creature takes radiant damage equal to your channeling ability modifier plus your proficiency bonus. Agility modifier 10, so probably 11 damage. Sunlight. The aura is filled with bright light. That is sunlight. Cheers. Okay, I mean, that's pretty straightforward. I don't see any real reason to juice it up any more than that. So, Oath of Glory. Fucking Guiding Bolt for 1 mana, man. That's an instant spell, which you can expend action economy. You can burn your bonus action to cast it for free. That's really, really good. Heroism. Heroism gives some hit points, I think. Concentration with an asterisk. So you can maintain, you can generate mana for this one as well. Enhance ability. That's going to be, I believe, a concentration asterisk effect. It could be duration. C asterisk. Magic weapon. Persistent. Haste, we know haste is concentration. I'm pretty sure it has a set limit, though. Yeah, concentration with a limit. Protection from energy, I think that's also... That might be a C asterisk. Let's find out. Nope, just flat C. Compulsion, I'm pretty sure that's a flat C as well. Freedom of movement, we know, is a duration effect. Legend lore, I think, is a instant effect. Hey, what's up? That one with a free guiding bolt sounds scary. Yeah, but you're gonna have to burn. You have to burn your bonus action or your reaction to get it. So, because you can only cast it as a magic action. So you're taking away you're taking, like, you could. For a bonus action, you could deal your sword damage, which with the Martial Strike at 3rd level is going to be, assuming that you're using a two-handed sword, it's going to be 2d6 plus d8 plus probably 4. So that's 2d6. That's 6 damage, 10 damage, probably 14 damage between your ability score. The bonus free smite for 1 damage for 1 mana, and your normal attack for 2d6. Assuming that you hit, you're going to on average do 14 points of damage at 3rd level. Guiding Bolt does 4d6, which on average is going to be 13 damage 14 damage. It's literally the same. And it costs the same amount of action economy. It's just far away that you hit. And you get the Vex Mastery property part of it. It's actually balanced. It even does radiant damage. Like the smite, the bonus action smite ability does at second level. It's literally the same. You can use damage, you'll do around 12 radiant damage and Vex. That's exactly what Radiant Bolt does. You could use your longbow to hit farther than Guiding Bolt could, but you'd have to reduce your damage on the Smite spell from D8 down to D6 instead. So the martial power as a D8 becomes a D6, so you would instead deal 13 points of damage instead of 14 points of damage, but could hit 360 feet away with a Radiant Smite. So, there you go. I'm sorry, let's double check that. Is it melee only, or is it actually ranged? Strike powers in general can be ranged. I'm sorry, the Divine Smite is melee weapon attacks. That's right. But a melee weapon can be thrown. So a javelin has like a 90-foot range. It's a little shorter than Guiding Bolt. But it can't be countered. It's an attack roll. So, but again, the damage is actually consistent. It seems scary because 46 big numbers go burr. But it's really no more powerful than what, a ranger could do with a marked target with a longbow, for instance. Yeah. So it's actually balanced. It just sounds super fucking cool. But the math actually works out. I thought I'd just lean into that for a second just to help ease any concerns or fears. Because it sounds scary until you actually break down the math. It's like, that's not actually that crazy. It costs me a point of mana. I can sacrifice my bonus action to do it exactly the same as a paladin could do with their smites. I'm looking for Legend Lore, damn it. And I'm too high. It's 5th. There it is. Instant. Holy shit, I could cast Legend Lore as an instant spell? That's super cool. I love that. And Yolanda's Regal Presence. I'll catch up with your text here in a second. Concentration with limits. Hey, what's up? Yeah, it's actually balanced. It sounds freaky, but it completely works. It's still the fucking coolest subclass, though. Just getting Guiding Bolts on your list in general is fucking cool. Like a full caster with like 80 mana at 20th level, 80 Guiding Bolts. Here you go, buddy. I mean, like, you're just going to be spamming it for days. It's cool. Okay, so Guiding Bolt, Heroism, Enhanced Ability, 1, 2, 3, Haste, Protection from Energy, Compulsion, Legend Lore, Yolanda's Regal Presence. That's 8 out of 10 spells you can use to generate mana with. Not bad. Peerless Athlete as a 9 o'clock. Okay, we're doing great. Peerless Athlete. As a bonus action, you can expend 1 use of your Channel Divinity to augment your athleticism. For 1 hour, you have advantage on strength and dexterity checks, and the distance of your lawn and high jumps increases by 10 feet. This extra distance costs movement as normal. Inspiring Smite. When... It's weird that it doesn't have... Jump isn't one of the spells that you get. Anyway. Inspiring Smite. When you sacrifice your bonus action to use the Divine Smite feature, you can expend a use of Channel Divinity to distribute temporary hit points to creatures of your choice within 30 feet of yourself, which can include you. The total number of temporary hit points equals the result of 2 power dice rolled, plus your Paladin level, divided among the chosen creatures however you like. So 2d6 plus 3 initially. It eventually will be 2d10 plus 20. Cool. Aura of Alacrity. Your speed increases 10. In addition, whenever an ally enters your Aura of Protection for the first time on a turn or starts their turn there, their speed increases by 10 until the beginning of the next round. Glorious Defense. When you or another creature that you can see within 10 feet of you is hit by an attack roll, you can take the reaction to grant a bonus to the target's armor class against that attack, potentially causing it to miss. The bonus equals your channeling ability modifier. If the attack misses, you can make one attack with a weapon against the attacker as part of the reaction if the attacker is within your weapon's range. The bonus equals your max channel limit. Gained as a Paladin. That is a universal change that we've pretty much applied to everything at this point. If the attack misses, you can make one attack with a weapon against the attacker as part of the reaction if the attacker is within your weapon's range. You can use this feature a number of times. That includes ranged weapons, by the way. It doesn't specifically say melee weapons. This is intended to be used with ranged weapons if you want. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your channeling ability modifier, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. You regain one. Wait a second. Like spending 2 mana. You know what? I'm going to change this. When you or another creature that you can see within 10 feet of you is hit by an attack roll, you can take a reaction to expend a use of your channel divinity to grant a bonus to the target AC equal to your max rank of power. And now I don't have to worry about how many times a day we get it, because it costs 2 mana to get it back anyway. That is literally the cost of channel divinity. So go ahead and make use of it. Cheers. You don't get it as often, but you also get a shitload more mana than your character otherwise would have. It still balances itself out. And it's 15th level, so you're doing fine. Living Legend, hey, what's up? As a bonus action, you gain the benefit. You gain the benefits below for 10 minutes. Once you use this feature, can't do so again until you finish a long rest, or you can spend 5 mana to get it back. Charisma, you're blessed with an otherworldly presence that has the advantage on all charisma checks. If you fail a saving throw, you can use a reaction to re-roll it. Use a new roll. Unerring Strike. Once on each of your turns when you make an attack roll with a weapon and miss, you can cause the attack to hit instead. That's an epic boon, by the way. Once on a turn with this, and then you can take the epic boon of accuracy, and that'll let you do it twice in a turn. Very nice. All right, that's our second subclass. We have 2 more to go. We're doing really good. Let's peel open our list of spells again and go down to Speak with Animal. I think I just ran out of music. Yeah. I only have so many I only have so many songs on the list. Let's go. Let's try this one. Very nice. I love this song. Spec with Animals is persistent. Here, 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 here. There. Reset. Oh, wait. Yeah, instant. See, Thundering Strike is strike power. Misty Step is instant. So I could Misty Step for free if I'm willing to sacrifice some action economy, but it's a bonus action to use it. So I'd have to sacrifice like an attack and a reaction to then Misty Step for free as a bonus action and then still be able to make an attack that I could then spend some mana on, but I've already spent my bonus, so I don't get my Divine Smite power. Balanced. I think Moonbeam is just concentration. Yep. And Plant Growth, I think, is instant. I think that's C, but it might have an asterisk. Nope, just a C. Ice Storm, I believe, is instant. Stone Skin, I think, is flat concentration. Good. Tree Stride, I think that's just a set duration. What was the other one? Commune with Nature. Thank you. Instant. But what's its casting time? I don't have a casting time listed here. Tree Stride. Concentration. Okay, so this has Misty Step, Moonbeam, Plant Growth, Protection from Energy, Ice Storm, Stone Skin, Commune with Nature, Tree Stride. That's another 8 spells that can be used by sacrificing action economy to generate during combat, specifically. But I don't like Commune with Nature. I think it has a 10-minute duration. It's like that wouldn't qualify. Nature's Wrath. Okay, let's get into it. As a magic action, you can expend 1 use of your channel divinity to conjure spectral vines around nearby creatures. Each creature of your choice you can see within 15 feet of yourself must succeed on a strength saving throw or have the restrained condition for 1 minute. A restrained creature repeats the save at the end of each of its turns, ending the effect on itself. Weird that we don't just get Entangle as a spell and free up this feature. This is basically spend 2 mana, cast Entangle. Okay. Oh, but it's multiple targets. That makes it worth. Aura of Warding. You and your allies have resistance to necrotic, psychic, and radiant damage for the while in the aura. Undying Sentinel. When you are reduced to 0 hit points and not killed outright, you can drop to 1 hit point instead and regain a number of hit points equal to 3 times your Paladin level. Once you use this feature, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest. Additionally, you can't be aged magically, and you cease visibly aging. Once you use this feature, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest or expend 5 mana, no action required. Additionally, you can't be aged magically, and you cease visible aging. Cool. 20, Elder Champion. As a bonus action, 4 mana at 15th level. As a bonus action, you can imbue your aura of protection with primal power, granting the benefits below for 1 minute or until you end them. No action required. Once you use this feature, you can't use so again unless you spend 5 mana or long rest. Diminished Defiance. Oath of the Ancients, thank you. Oath of Defiance. Enemies in your aura have disadvantage when you force them to make a saving throw. Regeneration at the start of each your turn, you regain 10 hit points. Swift Spell. Whenever you cast a spell that has a casting time of an action, you can cast it using a bonus action instead. Casting a spell this way, you can only cast a cantrip any spell you cast as a magic action during the same turn is limited to only cantrips. Normally we can cast a a magic action spell and a bonus action spell in the same round. That's one of the rules that we have using the system. Since you don't get free spells, you just get a shitload of mana to cast them as often as you want with the mana that you have. as a result, we have to change the language around action economy and spellcasting, because in 5.5, you can cast a bonus spell and a magic action spell in your same turn as long as one of them doesn't actually expend a spell slot. Well, with this system, we don't give you free spells because you don't need them. You get shitloads of mana, so fuck off. But as a result of that, that language doesn't work anymore. So instead, we just looked at what spells are bonus spells, and all of them are either expend your bonus action to deal more damage after you hit, teleport somewhere, or protect yourself or an ally from getting killed. That's basically all you can do with bonus spell casting. Oh, there's also Spiritual Weapon, which requires a bonus action for you to continue using. Same thing with Flaming Sphere. These spells are not a problem. The problem is when Sorcerer expends mana to make a spell a bonus action instead of a normal magical action, and then tries to cast a magical action leveled spell with it. That's cheating, because normally Fireball can't be cast as a bonus action, so you can't cast Fireball and then Fireball again in the same round. You would have to use Twin Spell to do that. No, but seriously, normally you aren't able to do that. So the only rule that applies for the cantrip and spell slot on your same turn is if you're able to cheat a normal magic action into a bonus action. Then the rule applies. So only the sorcerer, and so far this guy, have to worry about that rule at all. Nothing else that we've ran across so far in these rules has required that restriction. So the restriction belongs in the subclass, or rather in the class features. That's where the restriction exists. Not in spell casting as a whole universally for entirety of reality to have to respect, because they're already trying to get their way around it. But, well, if you didn't spend a spell slot, then you can go ahead and do a bonus action and a normal spell in the same round. That's fine. They're having to convulse themselves into knots to make the limitations of the spell slot system work the way that they want it to. But they're not allowed to make spellcasting default to a mana point system because of legacy. So they're kind of stuck. Too bad. Gives me purpose. Oath of Vengeance. Level 3 spells. Let's check out our Oath spells and then we'll be done for the night. This went really efficiently. Bane. McBane. Bane 1 equals, I think it's concentration, isn't it? McBane. No, yeah, this is flat concentration. You get Hunter's Mark. Wee pathetic Hunter's Mark. So sad for you to have to concentrate upon it. But you can concentrate on it all day long. Hold Person's also concentration. Misty Step is instant. Haste is concentration. Protection from energy is also concentration. Banishment, also concentration. Dimension Door, instant. Hold Monster, concentration. And Scrying. Concentration with an asterisk. Literally, every spell on this dude's list can be be cast with generated mana. That's crazy. All right, so Vow of Enmity. When you take the attack action, you can expend one use of the Channel Divinity to utter a Vow of Enmity against a creature you can see within 30 feet of yourself. You have advantage on attack rolls against that creature for 1 minute or until you use this feature again. If it drops to 0 hit points, you can transfer it to somebody else. Okay. Oh, man. I'm not getting enough oxygen because I'm having to talk so much, and I'm still a little sick. Weeks now, and it's causing my sinuses to congest. Relentless Avenger. When you hit a creature with an opportunity attack, you can reduce the creature's speed to 0 until the end of the current turn. You can then move up to half your speed as part of the same reaction. This movement does not provoke opportunity attacks. Soul of Vengeance. Immediately after a creature under the effects of the Vow of Enmity hits or misses with an attack roll, you can take a reaction to make a melee attack against that creature if it's within range. Avenging Angel. As a bonus action, you gain the benefit listed below for 10 minutes or until you end them, no action required. Once you use this, can't do it again until you take a long rest or spend 5 mana, no action required. Flight. 60 feet, hover. Frightful Aura. Whenever an enemy starts its turn in your aura of protection, that creature must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or have the frightened condition for 1 minute or until it takes any damage. Attack rolls against the frightened creature have advantage. What's up? Paladin with a... Yeah. And then we get into Oath of the Noble Genie, which is in the Faerun book, and yada, yada, yada. So, hey, we did it. We've finished. It's only 9:15. We're actually early. I didn't think I'd be done until 9:30. I'm thrilled. This is great news. So let's see. If anyone has any questions, I've got a few minutes left. If there are no questions, I'll go ahead and cut stream, and we'll be back tomorrow morning. Saturday morning, it looks like we might have enough people to have our 12th level playtest. And if that's the case, then I'll be here on stream probably like at 6:30 a.m. Super early Seattle time, like 9:30 Eastern time. And I'll stream for a couple hours before we start at 12:30 East Coast. If we don't have stream, I'll probably be on at 9:30 instead of playtesting and be on for like 3.5, 4 hours. If I'm on for a little bit, I expect to get the Ranger done on Saturday. If I have a lot of time on my hands because we don't have any playtesting, I'll be able to do both the Ranger and the Rogue. I'd rather playtest and have more than more stream time, but I'm always going to make use of that. That is my block of time to do as I please as a gamer. And if I don't get the playtest like I want, my consolation prize is pushing the ball forward. So, yeah, Ranger, maybe Rogue on Saturday. And then on Monday, maybe Rogue and Warlock. No, Rogue and Sorcerer, thank you. And then on Thursday next week, it'll be Warlock and Wizard. And then that following Saturday we'll do Artificer. And then a week from Monday, we'll be back to doing Bastion, Spelljammer, Kaiju campaign stuff. We might actually start with going through subclasses again, maybe. Anyway, that's it. Hey, what's up? So, 11:15. I really need to go right on my eye. I don't think I have any questions right now. I need to study the system. It's very detailed. I love it. Fucking great. I'm glad. I don't think you would have stuck around this long if you didn't love it. But everyone that's been playtesting with me, it's worked so fucking good, and it doesn't outshine Magic. You still burn out a mana, and you're still scraping at the end, like sacrificing action economy to squeeze out a little bit more power to beat things up. It feels really, really good. And with the amount of mana that the full casters get, their role as a utility and controller is amplified because there's so much that the marshals can do for themselves now. I'm super excited. Yeah, you are very welcome to try that. We'll make sure we have a good mix of different type of combat once we get the Bastion campaign going. So you'll have an opportunity to operate out of mecha at the 5-foot scale in dungeons and shit, and have plenty of mecha kaiju combat at the 50-foot scale, and occasional ship battles at the 500-foot scale. It should be a lot of fun. I'm really, really looking forward to it. So, hey, thanks for hanging out with me tonight. I really appreciate it, Forge. And Steve, I appreciate you kicking on through. And Gabby, unexpected to see you tonight. But I'm glad you were able to hang out for a little while. So, thanks a lot, guys. Anyone else that's checking out the channel, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notification when we're live in the future.